Welcome to Gem Collectors with Shawn. I am Shawn, and I bet you guys are as ready as I am. And so this week's discovery, really, if I think the word hoarder might be attached to me, but it might be used in the incorrect way. Sometimes that's associated with kind of a negative connotation. But some of those pictures, like when Miss Gabby said, that's all it is. It's just that I have had an overwhelming compassion. No, those are the people that live with me have to have the passion for rocks. That's all. And so in this week, in my prospecting trip down the hall, really 7 years. Cross my heart. Not purchased a single item at a show, not gotten any items anywhere from outside other than what I have always had. And and that's where, as a little boy, I always thought, I knew from a young age that, because my mom was one of those at a very young age. I got 13. She started each of us with a passbook, savings. And I'm sure most of you that I'm speaking to know exactly what I'm talking about, where you actually have the little book that you take to the bank and you fill in, or they fill it in, your deposit and how much money you have. And I really realized early on that, hey, if I buy this rock and I tumble it or I cut it or I make it into another form, it's going to be worth more money than if I put my money into a bank account. Well, you do that long enough and decades later, and then you have things such as 2 retail jewelry stores. You have 9 years of a live show of different inventory coming and going every week, processing it in and out of my business and home, which is my official business residence, the whole bottom floor of the house now, plus an upstairs office for my lapidary and goldsmithing, and another more climate-controlled storage space down the hall. Yeah, that hall. I got 2 feet in the door, which was further than I normally get before I strike gold, and I decided to open up the closet door. That was one of those things, don't go in the closet. Well, now, I know why. If you wondered probably why I haven't shown many beads in all these shows, it's because I just didn't hit that particular vein yet. This week, I hit it. The mother lode. And so you're talking about, I can date these back to a Tucson show at least 12 years ago. And no matter what any kind of product is, 12 years later, it's going to be costing more than it did 12 years ago. Some things considerably more. I have no information with any of these. And but what I did have was a very talented skill. Can't quote Liam Neeson, sorry. But what I do have is the ability to go and look up from your favorite discount sites on the internet. And this one for beads, and I'm sure any of you beaders, or jewelry makers know the company I'm talking about. I mean, they're, primo, firsthand for, really, if you want some even tumbled rough rocks of different kinds, or cabochones. I made sure, and that's where I was stunned. I did have pricing on one group of products, and so I went to that, it has the word mountain in it, okay? That company, and I was stunned by the pricing. That retail price was against what I had paid wholesale for like 12 years ago. I made sure that every item you're going to see by way of beads today. Now, these aren't strung, so you're going to save a whole lot of money, especially you don't even have to sometimes string your own beads. Sometimes the way these things are already strung, you can use the string they're already on. I'll kind of show you how I did one of those. But, just finish it off from there. But it really is easy. And if you don't know how to do it, I bet you have a friend that does and makes their own jewelry, especially bead jewelry or drop earring jewelry, and that type. There's a lot of people that do bead stringing, and these were all gotten because I used to do a lot of pearl stringing, and then I taught other people to do it, and Raven came. She already knew how to do pearl stringing, and but she does it on a level that is a perfectionist level. She's the one that you want to do your pearl stringing if you have a AAA strand of, you know, beautiful natural or, well, cultured natural pearls, and want them, you know, an exquisite job done. I did have to show her, though. It was pretty cute. She didn't know how to do a to tie off and do a claspless look. And that's where you have the screw-in clasps that look like pearl. So there's a specific way to do those. In a specific way, one time she got almost through a necklace. Really difficult to do. And in doing it, she just tugged a little too tight and broke the string. So it was going to take forever for her to restring. It was like a triple strand kind of job. So I showed her how to, and that's what I really, as managing a trade shop by the time I was 21, how I was able to do it over goldsmiths that had been practicing for decades longer than I had, was by that very early on developed skill. I was able to fix any mistakes they made. And I remember one time a person melted out the top of an antique platinum ring, and I don't know how he did it because it was platinum, but you know how thin that is, one of those filigree pieces. And I stayed on after he left, and when he came back, and he was really crushed because he knew it was serious stuff, and it was like irreparable. But I created a platinum plate, put it in, hand sawed it out the next morning, boy. So from then on, I remember in that one instance, that particular group of goldsmiths really, ability is everything when it comes to really being able to manage a group of goldsmiths where you're younger than everyone else. And is when you are able to fix their mistakes. So I was able to show Raven how to repair a necklace in the middle of it when it's been broke, and repair it to where you can't tell it, and also to repair it where the break is actually stronger than the rest of the knots. So, yeah. So, in doing all these, when I see all these solos beads, she had a big heart and intent, I think, to restring everything. I don't know what she was thinking. But they got put away, put up, and forgotten about. And I am bringing out pricing on those really inexpensively. And even if you really have no idea what you're going to do with them, well, one day you may take a beating, or one day, I tell you what, you know what they also look great for? Creating displays. There's going to be some garnet ones that, when you figure the total carat weight against what I'm selling them for, if you want to make gemstone painting dust out of them, it could be a really, you just wait and see. So anyway, have a lot of fun to show you there. I do have to mention, I am thankful when I saw Sarasota being at the center of where the storm was going, and all those areas I know well, because not only was my first job as a jeweler at 17 in Sarasota, my first job as at all was at a rock shop, in one of the biggest actually in the country, is in Sarasota. A lot of retired people are rock hounds. It was a good place. I just, and it was downtown Sarasota where I worked, which they said was supposed to get the water. So hopefully it didn't go that far. It doesn't seem like it was bad, and but still, I think my time in living in Florida, I have spent. As far as a place to go back to, besides not having exactly the whole widest range of rocks and minerals that I like Georgia does, or North Georgia, or the access I have to North Carolina and the other places, a lot more geological features going on. Because if really, if I was to have the ultimate opportunity to spend the rest of my life, if I had money to do so, it would be to do nothing but go rock cutting, travel around out west. I'd have to go out west. Most opportunities are still out there. But there would be, of course, the historic places in the east I would have to see. And, of course, the bucket list, the diamond mine in Arkansas. So, but still, always thoughts and prayers to those that went through what they went through. Florida, boy, what a difficult time. You know, I know around here, home insurance is expensive enough. I'd hate to imagine what it's going to be down in Florida. Okay, so we have a lot of neat things to get to. A lot of great comments about Miss Penny's pictures that we did last week. I have lots of goodies to show you, items you've never seen before. So anyway, when you see the beads, what I have mostly done is, instead of selling like a strand of beads, because I was making them so inexpensive for like $9, I tell you what, these guys will never if I show a $9 item, will never let me hear the end of it. So I'm packaged items together. Some everything I had, I put together, like the iolite strand. Instead of breaking them into 4 strands, I'm selling all 4 strands as one. But it's so inexpensive. Just take them all. Even if you don't know exactly what to do with them, you're going to be buying them far less than anyone else could. So even if you have a friend, you might be able to give it to her and say, look at this great deal. Or if you don't want, well, they're going to be cheap enough, you could give them. If not, you could sell them to them. That will be less. And we'll talk about a little of the qualities as we go along the way, because I noticed how they use an A, B, and C quality. Others use a AAA, AA. So we'll talk about a little bit of that when I feature those. Okay, so let me first read the trivia questions, because we have everyone did really well on trivia. So question number 1 was, what mineral inclusion caused reaction halos in fluorite? So we showed that. It was kind of an easy one to remember, because it was like that last item of the show that I hurried in, and on that fluorite piece from the Elmwood mine. But you get reaction halos from other places also. And reaction can be taken 2 ways. You have a chemical reaction, or you have, when you hear that word, the other time most often is in relationship to nuclear reactors. Hence, you can get the chemical reaction from chalcopyrite itself, but there's one theory is that it is the natural Earth's radiation that reacting on the chalcopyrite, enhancing its reaction within the fluorite, creating a reaction halo. So either would be correct. So actually, one source I read was it was due to natural Earth radiation. Like, a lot of people don't understand it or actually hear when they talk about the Anahi Bolivian ametrine, that it's really, when you really get down to it and read deeper into how it got to be the way they got, and a radioactive reaction has to come to play there. And that happens with a lot of minerals and gemstones throughout the earth. Okay, so answered being chalcopyrite. Second question was, in the andradite specimen, what 2 gem names are given for the yellow variety and the green variety? So from the Duplessis farm, Namibian specimens of the green dragon mine, that I had them until I didn't, because I sold them all to you guys. We learned that then, a couple of years ago. So we haven't run across it since. So with that specimen coming from a very unique location, I thought it was a good time to bring that question back. Answer being, the topazolite variety is the yellow, and the green, of course, as the demantoid. Hail the Russian demantoid with a horsetail flaw. I shouldn't say that, because as you remember, I'm a garnet lover, so I know if I had, and I have my Russian demantoid, and I had to make sure that Raven had one too. We got an opportunity to on a parcel of them years ago, and we sold off the others two within the 7 years since this podcast. So, but we each kept one, Russian, and each of ours, and I wanted it to have the horsetail inclusion. So even though it is a flaw, it's one of those flaws that are desired, and even by me. So, yep. Topazolite. That doesn't get a lot of airtime, does it, that word? No. All right, question number 3 was, what name does the trade give to calcite with the crystal habit of 3 faces to the termination? Nailhead. And that kind of goes back, but in calcite, the angles are like this. In the nailheads with the 3-face ending, of course, it's a much termination. It's a much sharper angle. And so that is the difference that you have to remember. And, okay, now if someone can grab the door, Latif, just let you know. Now, we're going to start off with Mr. Anthony. Mr. Anthony in Massachusetts. Okay. Hello all. Miss Penny's rocks. So, I'm a little confused, which isn't hard to do. By the way, I love Nova Scotia and Newfoundland. Well, good job for having you having gotten up there. Were all the rocks from one location? I found that whole segment of the show very interesting. Thanks, Miss Penny. No. So, she had written on the bag, luckily for me. So if you rewatch the show, I comment at the beginning about the granite one, and that's where I used the Geiger counter, and it has a little bit of a signature. And then the other location was those tumbled stone ones, and those were really fascinating as well. And so they were from those 2 locations. And I think her comment about Greece was, well, you already know Greece is all limestone, which she's got a point there. Not all, though. We saw where, I'll read on. Okay. So Mr. Anthony goes on to say, I scored the bicolored demantoid and androdite. I became an androdite collector from different locations, started from the coast mine in Japan. Okay, then. All right. You might have been gone and missed it, because I have another androdite. And, the way this Magic of the Show works, it may be meant to have worked out that way for no one else to have bought it, which I was quite surprised. And maybe, so I'm re-showcasing it today, because it is a really unique and hard to get a hold of specimen. So, and it's an androdite. So watch for that. Okay, on the trivia. So this is where Anthony got in on the natural radiation, even though I did say, and you got to always watch, and that's I warned about any kind of tricky sounding words. So sometimes our mind jumps ahead and doesn't hear exactly the words I'm using. So I asked what mineral. So what mineral inclusion? Now, if I said what mineral reaction, it might have come out with, so you said the natural radiation, which again is a correct answer, just not the mineral part. Getting the topazolite and the demantoid right, and I think you forgot question number 3, which was, what name does the trade give the 3 angles to to the termination of calcite, which is nailhead. Miss Barber says, hi, Professor Shawn, Raven, GSN crew, and the whole rock family. Sorry I forgot to participate last week. You asked about who had rainbow lattice feldspar. I was introduced to it a few years back by our little mineral selling lady from another network. Her piece, as most, was quite expensive. Yeah, I didn't realize how much they're getting for that material. I have more respect for my piece I got, which was actually given to me. Now I understand that. It was actually given to me by a Pakistani dealer that I had done a lot of business with. And he sent it along as just kind of like a little bonus. I have a big appreciation for his little bonus now. So let's see. So to see how the unique lattice looked under the microscope, Barbara's one that loves that. She puts everything under a microscope, which I really appreciate. I have 2 microscopes, and because I have all these little other miniature microscopes and whatnot, I get in, into some really high powers without putting it under the microscope. But the microscope works great for so many uses, especially looking into gemstones. So, I cheaped out and got a tiny piece on eBay from an Australian dealer. I don't blame you for cheaping out. I see that some recent offerings are now coming from Morogoro, Tanzania. I got to add my Spanish accent to be able to say that right. Guess the lattice is following triclinic, monoclinic angles. Because I haven't read, well, I have read about it. I probably just forgot most of it. But remember, well, maybe she even says that, because post-Japanese garnets get their iridescence from slightly different compositions of garnet. Is one of the ways. Feldspar is kind of like the garnet family. Feldspars intermingle, so you can have different percentages of feldspar that go to, let's say, the edge of the orthoclase limit or the edge of the plagioclase limit. And, you can also get feldspars that will intermingle separately. So that could very well be. Added to the emerald discussion, she finishes with ethereal look, but darned expensive. I got to price those in. I got to see how much they're going for. I got to see how much my little tidbit actually would be worth. Because knowing me, I was thinking about giving it away. Better not do that. Even though it's the only one I have. But it was actually an educational specimen. I've had it for a good number of years. But yeah, so anyway, add to the emerald discussion the fact that at least Muzo area Colombian emeralds glow red under LWUV. Maybe all Colombian, but I'm not sure. We'll talk about that. I actually saw the Cuna, which is actually the Cunas mine stones, do the trick. The Cunas mine are still in the Boyaca district, which is the Muzo mining district, as well as the Cosquez mine. And yeah. And someone volunteered that Norway emeralds do the same. It seems that stones from locations where there is chrome present, but not UV quenching iron, will light up red. Not Zambian or Pakistani. Let's all test what we have and report back. I am showcasing a Zambian emerald today, and it is derives its color from vanadium, because I actually did, well, we'll talk about that when I showcase it. I get so ahead of myself. So back to the, okay, let's talk about Colombian emeralds and Brazilian emeralds. Brazilian emeralds, for the most part, they tend to get their color more from vanadium. Vanadium is like iron. It's a fluorescent quenching element. So you're not going to likely always get fluorescence from there, even though, there's always the oddballs. In Colombian emeralds, it can vary widely. It can vary widely from stone to stone even. So some of the lighter color ones that, of course, have chromium in them, but they'll be inert. They won't have a fluorescence at all. some of the more intense color ones, yes. But here's one thing that you can instantly alert on. If you're doing a Chelsea filter test, like I showed you, you know, for chrome, I showed you with the chrome tourmaline. Remember how you could see that green stone go to pinkish red? Wasn't that interesting? So in emeralds, though, it is not a tell-all, because many stones, Colombian stones, because of course, you know, I offered them for years and years and years, and had my business partner went down there regularly for weeks at a time. And we probably sold more Colombian emeralds here than anyone else ever could for a long, long time. So, you know, extensively at all price ranges, trapeces, cat's eyes, all kinds of goodies. And so I am forever testing for knowledge when I have them. I had them from all different known mines and whatnot. And one thing I do know, if you have an emerald that all of a sudden glows a bright red, well, flag it for potentially being a synthetic. So they tend to get that color, that rich color that everybody wants, of course, really load the chrome on when they are making them, whether it's a Gilson or, you know, well, they have all those names, doesn't matter. Any kind of lab-grown emerald. And they all tend to flag a bright red, or a much stronger red than any other emeralds that you would regularly come across. So that is the only tell-all when it comes to chromium and emeralds, is that if it's a bright red, well, look at it for being a synthetic, even though it could be that way natural. But yeah, that's a big flag that you need to watch for. And when it comes to fluorescence in other emeralds, it is truly a stone by stone situation. There's no one size fits all, one reaction, one color reaction fits all. And it can vary, again, widely. And there's a thing called cryptic iron. So it's iron that can be present in a gemstone, but float freely. In other words, it's not replacing anything. And so it can have a lot to do, and it doesn't take much because it's a huge fluorescence quencher, but it does and can affect color, but it can affect the fluorescence in a lot of ways as well. So, and it's cryptic. In other words, it's just freely in the crystal. And so that's one thing to know and realize and recognize. So there we go. Congrats to Miss Gabby for getting 5 of the 6. What is it? Everyone seems to like that. So, right. That last one was a stinker. No one got it because the crystal looked square, not triangular, and any color zoning wasn't distinguishable on the screen. Really? I got Latif sitting here. Going to tell Latif he didn't get the color right? I'm going to re-showcase that. Have it right here in my little hand. And I'm going to show you exactly how I showed it to him. Maybe it wasn't exactly triangular, but every crystal can always be broken when you view it, and you have to be able to determine what it is without using crystallography as a tell. In other words, there has to be other methods, and this stone still has them. So anyway, we're going to show it. And let's see. We'll have to yield to your ID as tourmaline. You'll have to yield? Not bend to the knee over Hope Brad got the nailhead calcite. Your description of wild ultraviolet light sold it to someone this time around. I said it, same thing. It was in the description the first time around. I guess I checked it again underneath the table right here. I have my 395, right? And my 365. It went 2 different colors. It went like, well, I said that on there, the 2 different colors. So either one fluoresced, so whichever one I was using, I got a great reaction. But anyway, yeah, that was a beautiful deal. And also what I did was gamble and got it cheaper than the first time I showed it. And if anyone else does test the emerald, let me know what your particular emerald, if you have the equipment to do it. Okay, where was I? Okay. As to this week's trivia, degraded chalcopyrite crystals cause the halo effect in elmwood fluorite. Demantoid and topazolite are the green and yellow androdites, just like at Tobuscus Farm, that's Namibia. And the 3-part calcite termination is called a nailhead. Hope everyone in Florida is safe after Hurricane Milton. As I write this, it's back to Category 5, barreling towards Sarasota tomorrow night. Yikes. Should we be inquiring about the actual length of a cubit? That's in regards to the arc. Anyone? Spoiler alert. It's the distance. I think you would have won this one, Miss Barbett. It's the distance from the tip of your middle finger to your elbow. Sounds like fuzzy math to me. Yeah. Doesn't that like vary with everybody? Okay. I hope they. I am sure they didn't use that type of math in building the incredibly perfect pyramid. I mean, wow. How accurate they were in that. That's what makes me believe. Don't laugh, because I'm one that does believe. You know, the universe, this entire universe wasn't made just for Homo sapiens. No. There are other, in my opinion, there are other beings out there in the universe. And anyone that could get anywhere near Earth are going to be so much further advanced than we are. We're primitive. How they built that pyramid to the so close from corner to corner, and the interior, and all the what would be modern engineering 4,000 years ago. Really? I mean, it's things like that make me want to say, nah, the aliens would have had to be in on it. You know, I don't know. I'm really impressed with some of the ancient, and of course I've watched Ancient Aliens in those shows. It's more like ancient mathematics stuns me. And the other thing is, how can they build something so similar and exacting in the Atacama Desert to something that is, 12,000 miles away in Egypt, and without any communication across the ocean in between, these things I will ponder about. That and where the gold is in my backyard, all right? Like, how much gold is there? I know where it is. How much? Okay, let's see. Where were we? Okay, fuzzy math, indeed. Be well all. Miss Barbara from Brooklyn. Miss Barbara, you definitely have an inquiring mind. Well, Matt, when you got to hear from Mr. Matt. Matt is off with his, I guess, since I haven't heard from him, with his his Geiger counter. He got his Geiger counter. And so, he is having a whole bunch of fun with it. Retired principal. That's the kind of people we have. We have fact checkers on this show. Mr. Brad being at the top of the list, I think, but he competes with Miss Barbara on that. Everyone else not too far behind. Miss Cindy in Pennsylvania. Hello, Rock family. Penny's photos were wonderful. Enjoyed the whole discussion of her trip. I hope anyone in the path of Milton has come out of it as best they can. Talk about stress, evacuation, not knowing what is happening, what is left of your home, the long-term after effects. I cannot imagine staying and trying to ride it out. Cape Fear is a fave of the era. Right on. Robert Mitchum and Gregory Peck both were outstanding. I like the second version, a more chaotic and modern vibe to it, not the gloomy edge of your seat tension that the original black and white had. You're right. It was one time that I said that, and both Raven and I are huge. She actually turned me on to Cape Fear, I think. Yeah. And then I watched the original. And we said that this is one of the times, normally when a remake is never as good as the first one, but the remake of it was really good. So, but the original was fantastic. Black and white with limited special effects or anything that they could do. How they pulled off, some things like they did in the 50s, and working at a television studio. I actually watch, and it's ruined me for life, because Raven and I'll be watching something, and I'll actually start picking the movie apart, and I'll say to her, I wonder how they got that, item in the background, or, I'll look at it from a cinematographer's viewpoint. Just, you know, even though, well, these guys are great. They have a high-tech camera, but, you know, I would love to see them shoot a drama, a real live kind of scenario, and be directed by none other than Asif. My show, when we did the How It's Done thing, that's the first time I've ever felt directed, because in this show, you don't hear any direction. But in the series of 30 videos, and if you haven't seen them, treat yourself to watching them. You can access them just by, again, going to the Watch Shawn at the bottom of Gem Shopping's home page. Yeah. So if I say that, that's all I have to say, because then you're going to know it's the website, right? Okay. Homepage to the website. And it was the first time that I really noticed the difference direction can make versus what my version of it would have been. It made such solid sense in flow, in conciseness of the show. In other words, not saying just meaningless or showcasing meaningless motions. And we shot one where it was more just me, and it was terrible. It was terrible. It was like the first one was way too long, had to be all chopped up. And so then I said, direct me. And, you know, if you're open to it, then yeah, these guys, you know, especially Asif, is great. And, but they don't always get a chance to do that. And certainly some hosts, and I think a lot of you out there that watch the live show are sitting probably at home at times saying, boy, I wish someone would tell them to, well, that's called being a director. And that is sometimes required, but not taken. I am certainly one open to any of that, because I saw that when you're stupid, you're stupid. You look stupid, you are stupid. It's just simple as that. And getting proper direction can help you avoid looking like that. Anyway, don't get me started. I think I already was. See everyone next best week. Best wishes to everyone. And Miss Cindy goes on to get chalcopyrite, topazolite, and debantoid and nailhead all correct. Miss Elisa in Florida, I hope you did okay, because I don't know exactly where in Florida you are. But boy, I hope you did okay with the whole season so far. Hello, Professor Shawn, the lovely Raven, GSN crew, and Rock family. Thank you, Professor, for another great show. You never disappoint, and I learn something new in every show. I hope everyone is doing well and recovering after Hurricane Helene, and hope that everyone will be safe during Hurricane Milton. We hope you were, Miss Elisa. Miss Penny, I loved the rocks and photos. They are awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that with us all. My answers to this week's trivia is relic, chalcopyrite, topazolite, and debantoid, and nailhead. Good job. My favorite item was the Namibian aquamarine and shoral specimen with the iridescent phantom and the diamond crystal necklace. Good choices. Take care, everyone, and have a good week. Miss Elisa. Good job. Miss Gabby says, hello, GSN Rock family. Well, corduroy was just cuter than a bug's ear. He'll always remember that experience, Shawn, and I know you made it very special for him. And Miss Penny, thank you for sharing those gorgeous pictures of your trip. And what a handsome young man Mahali is. Enjoying seeing the rocks, too. I would wear a cab out of that green jasper piece you had in a heartbeat. I told you, Miss Penny, that was a great item. Somewhat preoccupied with the upcoming storm, yes, because Miss Gabby also is a part-time Florida resident. Somewhat preoccupied with the upcoming storm, we are out of harm's way, but wanted to check in and not miss this week's chat window. Good job. Thank you for the triplet parcel. I had one, so was very happy to be able to gift it to a fellow Rocktown friend who did it, and that's exactly what you're supposed to do. Look at me. I added up the other day, which I should have done, how much money worth of free items I have given away in 354 shows. Okay. Well, we'll leave it at that. Withdrawing, but trivia answers, chalcopyrite, topazolite, debantoid, and nailhead, Miss Gabby. Yeah, so Miss Gabby, report back to us on how you have endured those, or Miss Barbara, if Miss Gabby is not in touch, maybe you can let us know. And here's the other thing about the little Mr. Corduroy. And for those of you who remember, when I first started this show, I think I told the story, because I'm very ashamed of it. And I think I remember some of you responding that I have more than made up for it. And well, I have to finish it now, so I hope I get through it without crying, because I still feel terrible to this day. Towards closing time on a Saturday, a a little boy came into my store, and in my store, my nice jewelry store, I had really nice, of course, estate and antique jewelry, but on all the walls I had gems and minerals, and in the cases I had gems and minerals. And he was about 10 years old, and he, which reminded me, like my age when I got started at 11. And he was the most curious boy, and he came in, and at first, I had a few minutes, so I shared it, but then it got to be too much. The girls were trying to pack up and close the store up because it was closing time. And of course, you're dealing with jewelry, so people can't be in the store when you're doing that. So it kind of like everything was in frozen. But I could have done something different than I did. I could have told the girls, "It's okay, go ahead and clear up," but I didn't. I was I'll just put it in one word. I was rude. I was rude, and if it might have made all the difference in the world if when I think about that rock shop at 11 years old, but I was going there 11 and 12. By the time, I was 12, they hired me to come in on Saturdays and work. So, if they would have been rude at first or put me up, I would have never felt comfortable. We'd have never gotten that far. And when I think the changes, that how it could alter one person's life, how someone is treated one time like that. And yeah. I don't think I've forgiven myself. Yeah. So when I get a chance with the Rockhounds of today now, I do not spare a moment. Young, middle-aged, or all of you guys, who doesn't like to get something free or have a chance to win something? Hence the trivia. Hence, at any age, I can share knowledge. I can take my time. Yeah. And you never know what that investment in someone becomes. Because of the sport in my life, from my mom and parents, and from the business, the rock shop, it has led to being able to, a lifelong of being able to do my hobby for a living. And so many other pluses. It's taken me around the world through my business, and so many other positives. So I just think of how sometimes the smallest things that happen can make some of the biggest changes in one's life's direction. Not long after that, things changed, and the crash of the first in 2009 and 10, and we ended up going into a wholesale buying operation from retail. So I never saw the little boy again, and I just know that I didn't handle that well. But when little Mr. Corduroy, he was and is, and of course his dad is a great camera and great help in production, and is well loved by everyone here. And so he's got great family roots. And yesterday was his birthday. As I told him, because of my son's birthday in October, my mom's birthday in October, he told me his birthday. I will never forget his birthday. It was just like that. And I had the perfect thing. It was where you chisel these little rocks out of plaster. You can buy this little thing. And I don't know why I would have it, except to have some gift to give to someone his age. And I must have had it for years and years and years. So when I was getting out my crystal growing kit, which of course any age can do, but they show like a kid on there. So, kid, I'm just an old kid doing growing crystals. I found it. And so we debated about who we might give it to. And then when I found out about Corduroy and then saw him here, he actually was here. And we had just the day before talked about giving it to Corduroy. And I had no idea he was going to show up to work with his dad. His dad had to come in and help do the show. And so it was, he had to come with him, because also, that's the other neat thing is he's homeschooled. So sometimes that, it's a great education. And by me bringing him onto the set here, it gave him an opportunity to be able to, something he would never have gotten in school, because he wouldn't have been able to come in with his dad. So, and of course his dad let him see it and, put it on the YouTube on TV. So it looked like he was on TV. And wow, he'll have that all his life. And never know what he's going to grow up to be. So we'll see. And I'll forever be making it up. So So I hope everyone gets to benefit from that. Miss Penny goes on to say, and Miss Penny, and those of you, including Miss Barbara, now I know time will already pass, but a big geostorm, yeah, coronal mass ejection, it occurred, and the aurora borealis is supposed to reach as far south as Alabama, which I would imagine would be North Georgia as well. But they say it turns mostly red down here. But those of you, like Miss Barbara up there in Brooklyn, Miss Penny in Quebec, you probably see them rather more often. Let me know about this one. It's supposed to be a real humdinger. And we'll see how that turns out. So, let's see. Hello, Shawn, the lovely Raven, amazing GSN crew and fellow rockhounds. I hope this finds everyone well. To all Floridians, I hope you're all safe after Hurricane Milton. Miss Penny getting, let's see, all of them right. Withdrawing since I just won twice almost consecutively. That can happen. Thank you very much for that very unusual tourmaline. I love items like that and crystals in matrix. I know a lot of us are crystal and matrix lovers. Thank you for another great show. Faves of the week, the amazing fluorite specimen, Namibian aqua and shoral, Australian sapphire, nailhead calcite and pyrite, and the Afghani thumbnail tourmaline. Yeah, as I've showed better stuff, I'm glad to see it's just not one item. Good choices. Thanks for the impromptu rock explanation and the photos. Mahalis was as proud as a peacock. I'm glad he was. I'm glad he didn't lose that excitement. I remember when he was like 9, 10, how excited he was when he first, he could first hear his name on the show and whatnot. And glad to see that he can still find that kind of excitement out of it. That's it for this week. I hope everyone a wonderful week. Stay safe from the hurricane and hope to see you next week. Absolutely. Okay, so that leaves us with the winner this week. And it's probably going to create some trivia envy because that's the only way you're going to get these is if you win them. Because after selling about 1,500 of them, I know Miss Barbara is the winner. And so, Miss Barbara, let's show. This is something that you would not be able to buy. Now, many of you who watched the live show, now you would have had to watch me prior to 7 years ago. So I don't know how many of you that is, but if so, you would have had an opportunity. I sold about 1,500 of these on Gem Shopping. I sell them as a set of 3. And here's the amazing thing about them. I'll see if inventory can't include the little information sheet with the Thoya wood. But Thoya wood is a wood native to North Africa, from Morocco, Algeria, Libya, across into Israel, Egypt, along the Mediterranean there. And it's a very aromatic wood. They can actually create and get an oil out of it. It has a very pleasing aroma to it. And so that's part of the magic of Thoya wood. And it has one of the most attractive patterns. It's like, over here, it's like the bird's eye walnut, etc. And these are all hand done. Now, here's the amazing thing, and it's true, because after 1,500 plus of them, I tried to find 2 that looked alike. And that is one of their selling points, is no 2 boxes have ever been alike. And when you think of, that's just how many I bought, how many thousands have they made total, and without ever creating 2 alike. That's really, I think, a testament to how creative they are. Here's the other really thing I like. All the lids fit perfectly snug. Perfectly snug. In other words, you can flip them upside down and they're not going to come off. They even usually have to come off with a snap. Let's see. Let's open one of these up. Ooh. And there's a prize inside. Let me see what you have. Look at that. And I actually cut this. This was from a big piece of hydrogrossular. Actually, very few of you, facet grade, will ever get an opportunity to get hydrogrossular garnet like this. This you could actually cut cabochons from. Hydrogrossular is kind of like rose quartz. It's never perfectly transparent, not like other grossular garnets. Hydrogrossular is grossular garnet with a hydroxide molecule as part of it, and for whatever reason, it gives you translucent or opaque, but not transparent, as you can see. So you can see so it's always kind of, so it's great for doing cabochons, basically. It's also called Transvaal jade, as one of its other names. Transvaal in relationship to geography. This, because this piece is from Africa, and in the world of hydroglosser, this is about as good as it gets. So a really neat collector's item there, and you can put fingernail polish on it if you want to bring a highlight out of it. All right, so there is one there. Well, what do you bet if there's probably something in here as well. Let's take a look here. And again, the lids, nothing is ever broken. Like you saw how I used that to pop that back. You know, I shouldn't be selling that because I can't sell them. I wish I could. We have more, but you know, I won't be able to. Anyway, look at that. This was one of my personal Oko geodes. And so you can see the quartz and the very well-defined plume agate around the edge. And then you see the little black specks. This is actually one of the rare colors of the plume agate when you have the yellow in there. The darker black specks in there is goethite crystals. And sometimes you can find calcite in there as well. So, plus it was one I could find that actually fit in one of these boxes. There's that one. And let's see for the, look at that. I love the seal on these. It is so snug. Great little stash boxes for whatever you might want to put in them. Look at that. Piece of pyrite. Everybody needs a piece of fool's gold. It's actually hard to find pyrite, so to speak, that looks like a piece of gold. It's always usually crystallized or square or something that doesn't look like gold. This one actually does, so it would be neat for a child's display or a gift to a child or something, but I find most people like that would want to keep it. It works for doing diamagnetic tests, etc. You hear that snap? That's the way they roll. And congratulations to you, Miss Barbara. That a lot of people want, but that is something I cannot sell. So while we have that up, let me show you, and talking about Miss Barbara, this is what it looked like. Now, Latif didn't do any adjustments to it. This was the free item that no one got correct. Everyone else, Miss Gabby. Now, you can see their bicolor nature to that. I know I held it like that. That is easily discernible. Now, yes, you can't see exactly the triangular shape to it, but you can certainly see the perfectly striations that are natural to and very common to find in tourmaline that are going up and down like that. And if you can imagine that as a triangle, which it's not, but as striations like that, I'm trying to see if it was a nature repair, which it could be, because nature likes to fix itself. And with these two sides coming in, and with the green missing over here, that's quite curious. But anyway, it passed all the muster for tourmaline, and it certainly does upon looking. But if anyone has a better idea, like, it's just nothing else it could be. So anyway, there you go. That's the piece, just to inspect at the end. It was the only one everyone missed. I can kind of see if you're looking for a triangular shape to the tourmaline, but remember, everything from two crystals growing together, which it does, let me show you, or a crystal growing on top of another crystal. If you look right here, you see this little darkness right here, right where the green stops here, and it wraps itself around to over here. There is, and you can see that difference. So to me, that kind of looks like, I don't know, almost another crystal grew up alongside it. I wish someone smarter than me when it comes to crystallography could explain that interesting piece. All right, there we go. Okay, let me put these away, and I'll be back and start the show. I am showing you right now one of the coolest items of the show first. Yep, you're getting to see one of the best first, because sometimes I've been running out of time at the end. This, let me tell you, it is the only, let me put it this way. It's the most impressive contraloose piece of opal I have ever had. Many decades ago, Lapidary Journal, when Lapidary Journal used to do a lot more rocks and minerals, I still recommend everybody get that as well. They did an amazing article on contraloose opal. It means against the light. It's a type of opal from Mexico that normally opal, when you shine light on it directly on it, is when it is at its best and shows the most color and fire. Not the case. This is a piece of rough contralose. Not the case with the opal. That means against the light, meaning you hold the opal up against the light. Now, I'm not touching a thing. All I'm going to do is move this light that you can see the edge of the flashlight in your screen that is in front of the opal. I am just going to move it a little bit to behind it. Look at that. Look at that difference. This is coming down directly on it or from behind it, not in front of it. This has been, just because it takes a little more time, I should have used this and shown this as a lesson stone in many other shows. In the live shows, I regret. But this was one of those ones that I have tucked away, and then it just got further tucked away. Against the light. Again, you know, move it to the front and look at the color disappear. Look at it as the further I bring it forward. That's amazing. That is amazing. The other thing that's amazing, that I never cut the stone. I have kept it as rough. All right, we have all the lights off except for just this flashlight. Look at that. And look at how intense the color is. Can you imagine, cut properly, the different types of play of color you could get out of this? But it really may do best as a specimen. All right, we'll bring the lights up and show you the rest of the stone. Take a look. See what I mean? Look, there you go. I just took the light off of it. Boom. Where's the fire? Well, there it is. I just have to bring the light back behind it, against the light. So you can see this is a gem piece of opal. I mean gem. And there is color down through the entire piece. And I guess I almost have to show you, but isn't that neat? Look at that. You would never have thought there was any color in this whatsoever. Look at that. And look, nothing. True contralose. Now, look, this is amazing. It's amazing that I'd actually even let it sell it, because true contralose like this is extremely rare, extremely collectible, and extremely valuable. So with all those extremelies, if you thought, you couldn't afford it, well, normal pricing, you wouldn't be able to, but you know me. So 6.88 carat, I mean, that would finish a amazing stone, no matter how it looked. Either a thinly cut gem on this bias, or this one, or two, or whatever. But you can see there's very little. Looks like it's been preformed. I didn't do that, actually. I got this obviously in a state of opals. And here's the other thing. You're going to actually see, why I have it. Because actually at one time I had a lot of Mexican opal. And if you're dealing with opal, and unless you're looking at it on an individual basis, a piece like this can slide right through and not be recognized for the type of opal it is. Let me tell you, I can see that someone tried to preform it from above, right? Well, look at the kind of color it's showing. I don't see, if they're doing that, and if their light on their machine isn't shining the right way, they could completely not have any idea of its potential color, even in that way. And that is what is so amazing. So look, there we go. Look at that. That is cool. That is really cool. I just had to do it again to convince myself that, well, all you need is light in the right direction. This piece, as a collector's piece, it's nice because it's been finished with enough material removed that you can really see the contralose properties of it. I do not have another one. This is going to be the only one. It could be the only one you could even ever find that is true contralose, because unless someone gives you a demonstration like I just did, all the lights out, light in front, light behind, then you would not know it to be genuine contraloose. And if you are in doubt about contraloose, just look it up. Look it up. And if you want to, if you can access, you can find the old Lapidary Journal article. It was, I still remember the example of it. I have that Lapidary Journal and probably decades of them. I remember it was on the very front cover of Lapidary Journal, an amazing contraloose opal, and then information about it. And I had always wanted one to see one myself. I didn't know I'd had one all that time. It really, it slipped by, and I'll show you and tell you why here in a bit. Okay, how about this? I'm going to offer that for only $78. I know, I know, Latif. Believe me, that's one shot. If it doesn't sell, I'm never going to offer it again, and I'm keeping it. Because, again, this is my son's birthstone and my mother's birthstone and my favorite gem. So why? I don't know why I just priced it. I wish I could actually change my mind now. So, yeah, I know. Latif is shaking his head. I know. Yeah, I have regrets. Okay, but now, with that, then it would only make sense for, hold on, let me see, to feature the next item I have here that kind of goes with it. Yeah, you hear me. Here we go. Item number 1210924. 1210924. What I'm going to show you next is something that now, many years ago, in this show, so some of you probably may remember, I offered an opportunity on some Mexican fire opal, but it was some of the Querétaro stuff with the rhyolite and whatnot. It wasn't just like what I'm getting ready to show you, which was Shawn's kind of pick here, and a little guilty of that probably, but I saved some for myself, thinking again that I was going to do all this marvelous, things with it. Well, I did it. Let me show you. Here is a parcel I am offering. It is, I have two of them. So this is just one. The other I'll probably just maybe show you through, let me make sure, same item number. Yeah, so I have a quantity of two. All right, here we go. Let me show you. Look at this. Look at this. And this is well, if you want to know what cherry opal looks like, there it is. Look at that. And I only wet it to, this is not a material like Wello, Ethiopian opal. There's no hydrophane properties to this particular material. So what it looks like wet is the same as dry. It's just wet so you can see some of the actual color and clarity to this material. And there are pieces in this material that I saw what I call precious fire opal, material with a play of color. I didn't want to start going through it because I was afraid if I saw some that I would want to keep it. So I did it. And there is everything from the really rich color material to some of the lighter color, but it is all, there's some, what is considered gemmy by way of either, oh, did you see that purple? I just did, hold on. Well, here we go right there. So, wow, okay. I see purple in this whole side. Look at that. You see all that, Latif? Look at all that. So purple is one of those really desired colors like green is against the orange. And that entire face, as you can see, and now that you know that, this doesn't necessarily take full lighting. Opal acts differently depending on the material, just as you saw the contraloose. So I see a whole face of purple and orange in there, and no telling how deep it goes. That's what I mean by I didn't even look at it through like this through here. Look at this for a specimen piece or for a pendant. All you have to do is drill this, put a bail on it, and you have the. To me, this reminds me of a moldavite, except it is the orange Mexican opal. Look at that piece. That is simply gorgeous. And when it's dry, it's also shiny. It just happens to be wet because of it's just a face of concordal, well, kind of botryoidal that probably filled in a fissure in the rhyolite. Look at that purple back there, shining on that opal. Even as the face dries, look at that face. That face is drying, and you can see that purple on that. And I'm going to sell this parcel for a silly price. If this was opal, they would call this a angel's cap because of the way it is formed. It's, I don't know, opal just sometimes forms like that, depending and this one too, where it dips in the middle on one side and is rounded on the other. So you get the idea. On this parcel, I just end up being interested because, I mean, look at that. For faceting, I mean, that will cut one of the most intense colors you could hope for in this, and that purple is still glowing out of this piece. So there's two parcels. I'll show the other one, and then, okay, price on this. Opportunity is a really good one. This is material. It's not like the other material. I guess probably this is somewhat high graded. I don't know. This is only $44. Only $44. And what a great opportunity. Now, let me show you. I'll just put it in a different one there. They're both the same item number, so it doesn't matter what bag they go in. And but only just to be fair. Here is what the other one looks like, and again, so here's some of the rhyolite. The original parcels had pieces, a lot more pieces with potential rhyolite in them. Look at that. See, so everything works out because this piece I remember seeing in there, and I thought, wow, that would cut a stunning facet, a stunning stone. Oh, hold on. Look, I won't move. You can see it, just how stuff appears all of a sudden. You see the little purple on the tip of that piece right there. Yeah, I still see it there. Oh, you can see the purple all in that. What a neat, like I said, specimen or cutting rough. And as we keep just quickly looking through this, you can see how there's a good bit of this that will facet, certainly will cab, and then, if it, like this, what? Well, that'll probably facet a stone. What great specimens they make. Look at that. Look at that. That will facet. And remember, fire opal, a lot of it is not perfectly transparent and crystal clear. A lot of it has like that rose quartz look like that. I was just seeing if the back might be affecting that. Look at that. This piece alone would facet a large, nice quality. And I could not believe it. Look at the purple on that piece right there. I see it from here. If you have not priced fire opal recently, oh my goodness, this material is crazy. Claude and I were talking about a former gemologist here at Gem Shopping, and she said she had to go look it up and compare prices because she was pricing some material and she couldn't believe it. I couldn't either. Look at this on this one side, how botryoidal. Now this is a great piece for a collector, if nothing else, because you have this really interesting botryoidal formation to the opal silicate. Look at that. You have precious opal in those. My goodness. And then look, oh, this beats it all. A natural opening to put just a bail in right there. And you have a, look at this, bicolor, green and purple, botryoidal opal, all natural. Look at it, with a made-for-it flat back. Look at all the purple on that. So, see what I mean? It doesn't matter which parcel you get. You know, now someone's probably thinking at first, oh, I wish I could get that other parcel. Now they're thinking, well, I wish I had this parcel. If you want, buy them both. Get them both. Be the first to get them both. Look at that is cherry opal. That is true. When you hear cherry, that's the color that they're talking about. I see more purple in this. And look at that. There's a facet grade stone there. So same thing. I didn't look at it like this. This at home oftentimes because I'm looking at the big screen. A huge screen, way bigger than what I'm looking at home. And I see things I didn't see otherwise. Okay, so I can keep this ordered. Let me stop here, put this back in the bag. I'll be right back. Segueing to the opal theme. Nobody bought this parcel, which I was really surprised, because whether you wanted it for tumbling or just for specimens, or those of you who cut out there, you missed a really good opportunity at the way I priced this. Now, it may be because I actually showed it when it was wet, and because you don't know the other color, so to speak, when it's dry, maybe that was the reason. So I left it, let it dry out. Here it is dry. And you know, remember the neat thing I can say about the hydrophane properties, hydrophane is opal that absorbs and dissipates water. Most of the time, like the Australian material, it will cause it to craze when it dries out. Not this stuff. This stuff can go up and down, and I use scales to weigh it as much as 10% of the weight. In other words, a 6-carat stone can absorb as much as 10% of its weight, come out to 6.60 carat by absorbing the water. And then, so at first, when these first came out, and this is when Gem Shopping sold a lot of loose opals, they would be shipped out west or go to Arizona, and they'd come back and they'd be a completely lower weight due to the dry environment out in Arizona. The client would take it out and look at it, and the stone would literally lose weight. You come back to a humid state. Now, it may not be 10%, but certainly it's points just by the difference in humidity alone. Let alone if it's a piece that is really prone to hydrophane, then the humidity alone could make a bigger difference than that. But in general, it always is difficult to get the same weight twice. Now, so here is that parcel. Let me just show you. Look at the incredible clarity to these. So, and the chocolate one, of course, you can expect to have crazing. That's the Macesso. So I threw one of those in there for you opal lovers. Look at these. This is more of a darker, natural black, not a smoked black. I wouldn't call it, well, all the way black. A lot of them actually would call that black. And it would be a natural black. This piece, and then look at the clarity to that. I mean, that is just magnificent opal to facet. That stuff, when I first started faceting opal, I was faceting white Australian opal, thinking I was, like the first one to do it. Well, in 1975, I may not have been the first, but I was certainly one of the few, and really enjoyed it. But it didn't give it a kick because it wasn't transparent. But with the Wello material, it's affordable, especially, okay, so now you got to see what they look like. There, I'm going to just throw in a little water. I'm going to give you the price of this, and then I'll just showcase it after a little bit, and let's see if there's much of a big difference. The only difference is going to be is, and I picked this parcel in particular. See, this piece didn't look like it had much color. It just needed to have the wet look. It's not that it needed to absorb water to do it. It just needed to be shown wet. So, actually, I probably don't need to even feature this again because these are not going to change. These were pieces that look the same whether they're wet or not. And look at that. You just get to see them like this one. The clarity better and the color better wet. It's not going to change. So anyway, this was such a good deal. I couldn't believe that no one got them. But, since my thing is, I price it a little cheaper if I show it again, I'm going to go ahead. It was only $68 for all those. That one stone would cut it, a huge opal. And look at that, worth way more than the $68. Look at that piece. And if you just want to tumble them, just put a rough tumble on them and take them to polish, and you will have magnificent stones to use for your display or for wire wraps, whatever you may want to do. $64. $64. So come on, you keep. Yep. That's the discount they get this week from when I showed these weeks ago. $4. If you're gambling, then you came out and you saved $4. Other than that, it's like after that, you know, it's a. I'm keeping it. Favorite stone. Item number 120, 21, 24. Okay. Mr. Anthony, the demantoid, or not demantoid, androdite collector, let me show you. You might have been out of town when I featured this. Look at this guy. This is incredible Afghanistan. I know exactly where the mine it came from and the area. And then the other neat thing is this has a stone that is actually associated with garnets. I have found it associated with the grossulars and some tanzites in the Tanzanian area. I have also seen diopside associated with the Tubus's farm, Namibian androdites. So it mineralogically has something similar as far as formation goes. So you say, where is that? Well, you look for something that is different than the crystallization of the others. And so this one's kind of easy. So, of course, in dodecahedrons, you're always going to get this triangular kind of face on one side. And so this has the classic look to an androdite, all these crystals. But when you get around to hit this one, well, garnets don't usually form long, more prismatic look to it. So, and here you can see a little bit of a different green. So right there, you can tell from the crystallography of that and of that one. Here is your little cluster of green diopside. Now, let me just see out of my own curiosity, what if these, if any, have any, if they can be backlit. Oh yeah, there we go. Now you see the one at the edge there having a yellowish, greenish, wow, that's really actually pretty. I was making sure it wasn't diopsides, but they're not. Look at that. Oh, that's a much better color than I thought. Look at that. See? I mean, that looks totally saturated on a dark black or brownish color tone, but with lighting, I see a yellowish brown. Let me just do one more thing over here. Put a little bit other wavelength of light, maybe a little bit more intense. And I still get that from the same, yeah, from the same edge, same color. This is a little bit more effective for featuring that. So this is a beautiful specimen. Let's look at the rest of it because it's also a really difficult one to get. So if you collect androdites and want a hard to find one, here it is. Now look at the other side. Wow. This has some other interesting, yeah, this is a rare collector specimen, other interesting mineralization as well, as you can see here. Now, it could be some more yellowish androdite, but you can look at that and investigate that closer. This also has epidote on it, and the epidote, look at all the colors to those. Look at that. So there's the diopside, and the epidote may just, oh wait, hold on. See, you can spot things. Look at this. There's a green gem there. So you know what epidote looks like. Oh, here is I think this is the epidote. It's on an epidote base, yeah. Which it's like the epidote to unakite. So you know what unakite and the epidote looks like there. So unakite can be found in massive quantities. I even see maybe some little pink feldspar even with it like that. So the things to investigate, these yellowish crystals, that other green place, and then put some lighting behind these and look down in between. That's a magnificent specimen. So, lucky for you, no one took advantage of it the first time around. I'm going to offer a discount on it and make that only $118. $118 on that one. That's an excellent value for that kind of collector piece. Okay, now, I don't know when to start on these others, but I guess I'll start with, let's start with this. This was one of my faves of the new vein I found. The vein of discovery. Item 1210424. Okay, this is a multiple, so you don't have to rush and try to beat anyone to getting it. I have I have to look. How many of those do I have? I think I have 9, maybe. I'll have to. Well, either way, you know, I think it's 9. But let me show you what I'm talking about, so I don't just sound nuttier than I already do. Look what I found, and believe me, this material now, oh boy, is it harder and more expensive to find. Look at this. Look at these. These are not just rounded beads. These are the faceted beads, which add... Oh, sorry.
Is that it?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, wait. I had given it to you, but okay. It's 12, 104, 24. You're close. Now they're all wanting that item. There we go. Perfect. Okay. Now, I just put A grade on here because I never grade things like that. The grading of any kind of letter grades you see is in direct relationship, and I'm just going to, no, I'm not going to use it, to the primary source for beads in the market that most people use. If you're a beader, you would know to go to blank Mountain Gems, okay? Basically, I just told you what it was. But it doesn't matter because I used them as a reference to come in way below and learn about this. Did you know there was a synthetic ruby and zoisite? And did you know that they also dye these ruby and zoisites? Did you know that, well, did you know how to tell the difference? There you go. Well, the quality that they use for beads is not the quality that you see me use for those big ruby crystals in zoisite. Those large ones, that's a whole nother ball game, okay? So when they see those pieces, they're separated. This is material, so you can see for every bead to have some ruby in it, that the rubies have to be small and kind of just very randomly distributed through the material that is used. Now, what you're seeing is 2 necklaces. So I'm selling these, each necklace is 8 millimeters, and it is so accurate by way of relationship to the number and length that every single one had 49, it says stones, but that's the only way I can put it in the computer. It's not a choice for beads. 40, so every one of these has 49 beads. So I also under carat, in other words, they also probably weighed 160 to 170 carats. I just came in under, just in case there's a bad bead or anything like that, and just to make sure that it weighs, everyone weighs at least that. Now, here, let me show you. So what you're getting for, let me tell you the amount of money, so then you can hurry and get the quantity you want. So per what you're looking at right now, which is the information you're seeing up on the screen, only $24 a necklace. So they're unstrung. I know, exactly. Latif just said, what? He knows that. If they could get a hold of this upstairs, they would string it and bring it back at a humongous price. So here's the way it comes. And this is where I say, you see how it's already strung? You can actually take this and I just taped this. I didn't knot it, so I taped it so that you can actually, and you can undo that knot. Use the string it's on if you want, and tie it off yourself so that it goes over your neck, or use the string it's on and just add some type of inexpensive clasp that you can get at that hobby store that everyone has access to. And you can be your own, create your own jewelry. Why not? Now, let me tell you, I learned a lot after going on the site and seeing what others were offering. Yeah, I sure did. Buyer beware. Because, boy, there were some really fooler items in there. And here, let me give you an idea. So when you see it, and if you go and look at those other sites, click on the picture of the beads, and then it allows you to blow up and zoom in. What a difference it makes than just looking at the first picture. Now, these are faceted, which very few choices you had for a choice of faceted, but I noticed the difference between faceted and regular beads was considerable, as it should be. Here is the trick, an ultraviolet light. And with these, they need to do two things. Okay, so one thing in the tag, I didn't have room. The black, what looks like black, I used to call it Shermukite. That's what everyone used to call it. Well, it's not Shermukite. It is called, they realize now it's Pargasite. Pargasite, it's not actually black. If you have it, I think I've showed you before, it's actually a really dark, deep green. All right, so let's get that out of the way. Most of them won't tell you that. All right, let me also tell you one other bit of information. It's a neolite. So they use the local word, a Maasai word, a neolite, A-N-Y-O-L-I-T-E. That's probably a good name. I believe it is in reference to the color. So that's kind of the local name. It's kind of picking up. It's better than saying ruby and zoisite. One of the old names was ruby and zoisite with, Pargasite inclusions, and it's really long. Okay. But here is what it comes down to. I can't show you here very well because we've done this enough. But how to tell ultraviolet light. The rubies need to fluoresce a brighter red than they are. You also find one with, like this one. See that? That has silica. Where my finger, there we go. So you see that little whitish area, just in case you wonder what that is, it's kind of quartz. So some will have quartz in some of them as part of it. And that's fine. That's a good, strong, stabilizing material. If it runs through anything, it's good. But that's known. Okay, ruby needs to turn red under fluorescent light. Here is the other big one, the real tell. And a lot of people don't realize that green zoisite. Now remember, tanzanite is a zoisite. It's a, the purplish blue zoisite. Most of the time, naturally, it's a tannish or light yellow type color, and with heat treatment, it can turn that wonderful color, or it's found naturally that way as well. The green zoisite variety, it has a very unusual property. Under long wave fluorescence, it turns a blue-gray color. It is one of the most bizarre, for some reason to me, a very bizarre color change, and one I wouldn't expect. So yeah, so the green needs to turn to blue-gray, and the red needs to turn stop sign red. Then you're in the league for natural stuff, not dyed. And also, when it comes to the red, it's not always exactly red. It needs to vary. It can be orangish. It can be, because remember, in this quality red, it's not, sometimes it's not a solid ruby. You'll see ruby shot through sometimes maybe with calcites, maybe with quartz, maybe with some other minerals more so than the ones you're used to seeing, which is nothing but a pure ruby crystal against a against a green zoisite background. The rubies can be blended. With that said, therefore, the fluorescence of them will vary and should vary. So you'll see that as well. But yeah, so all that said, each strand only $24. I think I have 9 of them. If you get 2 of them, then they're 15.5 inches each. Get 2 of them. You have lots of options. Plus, you can always do a bracelet and make a 24-inch necklace. So, you know, look at these together. I mean, and what a Christmas gift that is, huh? Red and green. Even though I never quite think of it that way, it is certainly perfect for that. But that's 2 of them together, and 2 of ruby and zoisite for only $48. I mean, why not? Get it? Why not? One of the most common names for a boat, by the way. It really is. Yeah. Used to have a boat. I know. Used to have a couple of boats. Different times in my life. Sunk 1 out of 2. That's not bad. Okay, so get in on these while I have them. Now, let me see what to go to next. Okay, how about another multiple? Meaning I have lots of them. And let me show you these. This is item number 1211124. And I am selling these because these were going to be so inexpensive at the price I was going to make them. I am selling them 2 strands per price. 2 strands per price. I guess, I don't know. And let me just give you the price now. Look at those. And then we're going to talk about it. So I have, let me show you what I did because I think they're just really pretty. I have a quantity, but what I did was I just took it and just lightly twisted them. Look at how pretty that is. Look at that. I mean, that's beautiful. It's my birthstone. How can it not be? So, look at the quantity. You know, there's something when you have them like this, I feel like a pirate. I feel like, you know, it's a treasure chest. I feel like I hit the big time. And there's just something, that's why pearls, they say, are very sensuous and sensual. They also take on the body warmth, because right now, these garnets are cold as ice, as the way they feel in my hand. Not like other minerals, and it all has to do with density, clarity, makeup of material, etc. Okay, so there is, I think, like a total of 24. So that would be 12, you know, and there's 2 strands to a 2 strands to each. Oh, I didn't give you the price. Here we go. $18 for 2 strands. So you see it in the information. This is where I said, for the weight, 225 carats, you can smash them up for 18 bucks. I can't sell you pieces of loose garnet, you know, just rough garnet for that price. And believe me, you don't even have to go check anywhere on that price. It is so far below any other price you see it, but you can go look, because then you'll know. And believe me, next time. All right, the other neat thing you need to know is the word hand cut. You'll see that used, and let me show you how you can tell when something is hand cut. You just look at the bead closer, and what you'll look for, I haven't found yet, there it is. Okay, see the little flat spot on that one bead? Sometimes they're much worse. Sometimes, so what they do, they'll actually literally hand cut them, hand polish them down to a point, and then they end up going in a tumbler. But sometimes, I have not found one yet. I can't believe that. There'll be a flat spot, which is another way to tell that they're hand done. I'm also showing you the corner. There we go. So there's one right there. You see that flat spot right there on them. And so that's a sign that they have not been done in, you know, that they're hand done versus machine done, etc. The other thing I want to show you, let me backlight the color to these. Look at that. Now, here's the other neat thing. Why you see almandine pyro? I almost added a 3rd garnet in there, specialty, because that's what these are. These are a blend. And as a whole, yeah, Latif's right on it. He's gone to exactly the ones I would have been looking for, the ones that vary in color. And when you backlight them, you can see that difference in color. Well, let me tell you, it makes a difference in the, here's my magnet. It makes a difference in how magnetic they are. Whether they are a full almandine or whether they may be more pyrope or whether they have more maybe spessartine in them. It all has to do with, how much of a magnetic pull to it. But you can also see from lighting them from behind some of the different colors you get. So I see actually a lot of rhodolite, and that you're getting that because there's a good bit, I would say probably the majority of the garnets are a blend, are going to be an almandine and have some pyrope blend to them. And that's just the way the garnets are. It's very rare in this type of situation with these kind of, the way these garnets and the way they're mined, to be just a pure almandine. Certainly wouldn't be a pure pyrope. If it did, there wouldn't be any magnetic attraction. So that's why you also have that nice little purplish type of look to so many of them, because they fall more into a rhodolite type of range with the coloring to them. So here's what you get for your $18. This is a set of 2 strands. I have these. So I have these. I tied them off, the 2 together. So let me show you. This was just a real simple, leaving the string that was on there. You can actually tie and put 2 of these together by doing so. And if you don't, of course, make the type of knot I made, you can make it appear much smaller. And then, of course, 2 is 32 inches. That easily goes over your head. And then you can also then easily double it and make it and using a pearl shortener, you can have it fall like that, or you can have it fall evenly like that. You can twist them up, even 2 together. Looks quite attractive. And of course, the more you do together, the bigger of a twist look you can do. So for that amount of money and for the quality, it makes a big difference. Oh, let me go back to that grading on the others. When I put A grade on the ruby and zosites, that is relative, all of that, the grading letters, relative to that one particular source that uses that type of grading. So with me looking in and comparing their grade to the ones that I had bought so many years ago, that's how I was able to. Now, some I didn't bother, like these, because I made them so less expensive. And the clarity was there that, I just made it a good deal. Okay, so there you have that opportunity. Now, let me put these up and I'll be right back. I'm starting just a quick look so you get size comparison and color comparison, since a lot of people against gem tubes, kind of what you're familiar with. Let me show you. This is a Zambian emerald. Now, last time I showed this, I had those some other emeralds to compare against it, especially I think they were maybe Colombian. And of course, a vast difference in color. What you see in this emerald is that secondary color of blue to me. Now, in the Zambian emeralds, what you end up with is a high percentage of vanadium for the coloring agent against chromium that is more common to the Colombian emeralds, and vanadium is more common to the Brazilian. There's a distinct color between the two. And vanadium is probably almost very heavily involved with the coloring of Zambian emeralds versus chromium. There can be some chromium, but high vanadium and little chrome is what they're known to have. Leaves you with no fluorescence. But I did a float test on this stone. In other words, using a gem tube lid on water. And I think I even did it for you guys. And using, of course, the N52 magnet. And I could pull it around on water. So when there's no drag, there's enough iron in it that it does, float and respond to a magnet. So what that, of course, can only tell you one thing, that there is some iron in it. That is another reason there is no fluorescence to this stone. So if it did have any iron, especially, would also quench the fluorescence. This is also where you get your cryptic iron. Iron that is free-floating in the crystal system, that it's not part of the stone and it's not replacing anything. It's just freely in the gem. And that is what can lead to some of the other properties you find with it. So if you collect emeralds, this would be a really good one to have because it's still a very valuable stone. You can see relative to my ring here, the size of it. And so it is a slippery little guy here. It is a great look in the world of emeralds, especially considering clarity. Now, there's also enough room with the depth of this that if you're clever and want to have a little fun recutting it, you could completely recut this for an improvement in its brilliance, reflectivity, cut. You know, it has a little bit of a window effect. You can see because look at how shallow that crown is. Look at that crown. That crown is almost invisible above the girdle line, but you have a big pavilion still. So you'd lose a little dimensions, a little bit in dimensions. There's certainly plenty to work with there to cut a crown out of it and to cut a proper pavilion to greatly enhance the look of this stone. Now, here's another thing. Since I do treat, am one of the very few people trained and taught secretly by a Brazilian, to where I cannot reveal the secrets to it, but I have the equipment to re-oil, and I have done it for many different other jewelers mostly. And people that want to like clean their house with ammonia and have their emerald ring on. Or, I don't know, it can do many different ways. You can pull the oil, especially just over time. If you're swimming in a pool over time, if you're swimming in the ocean with an emerald ring over time, you can pull out the original oil that might have been in. It'd be like, with a ruby and sapphire, like undoing the heat treatment, because you can count on, unless certified, every emerald being oiled to some extent. Here's the key. Oiling emeralds has no effect if the inclusion does not reach the surface. If an inclusion, and you see a flaw down in an emerald, if somehow that little flaw does not have some little surface reaching area, there's nothing oiling ever can do to help it. You have to be able to, under under pressure and temperature, be able to make the oil, has to be the right type of oil, viscous enough, and force it into the stone under pressure, and then the rest is also secret. So that's the basics of it, which is the basics of a lot of things. So none of that, though, will work if there is not, you know, it's like the oil that's underground. That oil that was underground, you know, until 1900 or so, been underneath the earth for a long time, except for the La Brea tar pits out in, which I've been to, of course I had been to, out in Las Vegas, where it actually, the oil and tar seeped and broke the surface. A very unusual thing. You know, kind of, it's not quite like the beginning of the Beverly Hillbillies, which I always wish that and gold finding was as simple as that. In the early days, finding gold was about as simple as that, but finding oil, not so much. You don't go and shoot a bullet into the ground and up comes a bubbling crude. The La Brea tar pits, though, was a little bit of an exception because you did have, you know, tar, which is fossil fuels, put it this way, reaching the surface. Other than that, no, you got to drill. And until you drill and create an opening to that oil's not coming up to the surface. You're just not going to do it on its own. It also works in reverse. Unless there is an entrance way to one of those inclusions, that inclusion will forever be there. You cannot oil it to beat the band. So, I looked at this, and this, oiling it would actually not help it that much. I wondered if it was not oiled at all, actually, because I looked into some areas and I thought, wow, I could probably oil this and improve it. But I didn't. I didn't. I just left it the way it was, however natural that may be. Overall, that is a nice emerald in the world of emeralds. And though it's Zambian in a different color, you're going to expect that. Just like Russian emeralds, just like clarity becomes the key. That one, of course, this you can really see the secondary color of blue. Look at that. So you can see the green and the blue. Well, that's kind of interesting. Well, there you go. I think that says it all. The primary color, the secondary color, and because of the inclusions and the type of inclusions, it's not an aquamarine, not that blue. I tell you what, I have a price on this. I am going to let someone have an amazing deal. If you collect emeralds, then you're going to love what I'm going to drop the price on this guy too. It was only $337, so that was only a little, I think it was like 125 a carat or something, I don't know. Let's do this. I am going to make that only, wow, how low can you go? One time, let's do this. It's crazy to lower the price at all, but, you know, I just don't know how many Zambian emerald takers I have out there. I'll make it only $248. Only $248. Huge discount to a stone that is beautiful as it is in its own right and worth well beyond. But that's what this show is. It's about opportunities, knowledge, and opportunities. In that order. All right, now. So many things. Let's do this. Okay, so some of these are one-offs. Another one-of. Item 12, 105, 24. 12, 105, 24. And let's get out this.
I know how to.
Let me make sure. 12, 105, 24. Let me check this. Yeah, here, you need the info on it. There it is. So mixed colors, Brazilian tourmaline. It's 50 carats. So look at this. And they're 4.5 millimeter drilled beads, length 15.5 inches, which is pretty much the standard length for what they call a hank. A hank is a unstrung strand of beads. So I'm calling these mixed colors, as you'll see. Now here's the neat thing about these beads, and Raven actually noticed it. Well, when I was doing these beads, she came across and she saw, and oh, her little hand went all over these like she'd never seen them before. Yeah, she's the one that tucked them away to start with. Mixed tourmaline, 50 carat total weight, drilled beads, length 15.5 inches. Perfect. And price on this, you know, I couldn't believe it. It was actually, these things were expensive. Look at this. Cat's eyes. She noticed a cat's eyes on some of these tourmalines. So I didn't, of course, look for any of those, but they're going to be there. You're going to find all kinds of neat things. Like, look at that one with some other minerals in it. Look at these colors. And she even knew, she goes, is that acrolite? And it was a white one, you know, colors one. I said, yeah, well done. So look at all these colors. They are real attractive. And you even have the pink in tourmaline and quartz. There's a lavender one. And I'm looking, I thought so. So these don't appear to be hand cut. You see how uniform they are? I don't see any flat spots. So because of the additional value to the tourmaline versus the garnet, I think more time is spent. Like, look at that bead. Look at the clarity to that green one right there. That's a really facet grade bead. So you have everything from pink to rubellite ones, rare yellows. There's indicolite ones and cat's eye ones too. If you look for them, you can find them along the way. So let me do this. Okay, so I only have one of these, $36. $36. And let me just put this around here for just a moment so you can just roughly see what they kind of, there you go, how they look against white and all the beautiful multicolors to them that they are. That is a good deal. And for the quality, I, again, referenced it to that other place and it was like, couldn't believe. Of course, it's tourmaline and nice quality tourmaline. So, yeah. Now, next, let's see. Oh, this is neat. This is a neat one. Item 121-1324. With all those other goodies, I ran across these, and I thought about offering them one at a time, but I thought, no, I don't have time to do that. I'm just going to make it a parcel of all three. Look at these. These are huge aquamarine crystals and natural color, as far as I can tell. They still have some green tint to them, and they're large. So look at some fantastic clarity. The other really neat thing is the etching. Okay, so as you look up this crystal, even though there's appears to be a portion missing here, but if there's a portion missing here, why is the inside still striated? In other words, it is a secondary growth. You can see that. It looks like there's one growth, then this outer layer came around it. Now, if you look at this end, what it looks like this was broken off of a cluster. What? And this was broken off as well. So imagine how long was that? You know, that's one of them. Look at this one. This one, here's a really cool thing. Look at that hollow spot in the middle. Now, this crystal either grew around something else, and then with the etching, which can happen when other fluids enter the pocket, and if it's something like calcite or a lot of different other minerals, they can be dissolved out and leave a hollow center. Now, this one appears like there was two crystals kind of growing and ended up kind of side by side because it has this neat, unusual channel. But there's also, look at this, some really gemmy areas in this as well. But I like it because of the hollow center. That tells you, gives you some hints as to what was going on. Look at this. Look at this. Look at the gemminess to some of that. I mean, there is some facet grade material in there. And then, again, look at that now. See that shape of that? That looks like a tourmaline, a triangular kind of shape tourmaline that the aqua might have grown around. No telling what the end result or how it ended up with that hollow middle. There's probably, there's people far wiser than I that could tell me a lot more than what I can tell you. But I can tell you that this is a large crystal, a really neat collector piece for the sense that it's hollow. Here's the other cool thing. If you wanted to, if you have a thin, like one of the 4-inch diamond saws that will slice really thin pieces, you can take, imagine, okay, you see the hexagonal shape to the outside? Imagine if you take a saw and saw a bunch of thin little discs this way. You can see the hollow part comes down to down here. So you could get several and have the middle of the cut be naturally open in that triangular form. So as discs for like earrings, for dangle earrings. How cool would that be, huh? Naturally open center, and you're using natural aqua and slicing it up that way. If you want to use a crystal that way. I mean, there's two of them, right? This one, oh, here, let's see. Yeah, there's another one, and sliced again, it would produce a different shape altogether. That's a unique crystal form to the middle. But again, it's kind of triangular. I'm wondering, but tourmaline, I don't know what would dissolve tourmaline, but that weird stuff goes on. I wish I knew all that. So look at that. Look at the color to those. Beautiful, beautiful opportunity. Look at how big these crystals are. It was 2 inches or more. Some are probably 2.5. And instead of selling them individually, I thought, you know what? I'm going to offer all three one opportunity, and it's going to be so inexpensive, someone's going to take all three. $78 for all three. Only $78 for all three collector's aquamarine crystals that would, even if you have a nicer aqua, they would look beautiful, decorated around it. So many different things you can do. And, you know, you can do sometimes so much more with 3 pieces or 2 pieces as opposed to 1 as far as in displaying them. And that's what I always encourage the items to be out and on display. Let me show you item 121-0624. 121-0624. This is another, let's see, item. Do you have it?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so let's see. I have a quantity of, it looks like 3 of these. So let me put these just for a moment around here. So I'm selling these individually, so you're just going to have to, well, let me just, since I'm not so good with doing this part, forgive me. I tried to do some of it beforehand. Okay, so let me just show you what they kind of look like beforehand, color-wise. And these are just mixed Brazilian freeform. They're freeform. So they're bigger. You get all the different colors, sometimes probably even more so unique pieces because of the freeform nature. Also, this is where you can find the cat's eyes as well. But no matter what, if it's tourmaline, they certainly have, it's not inexpensive. They're not inexpensive, not like garnets. Even the ruby and zoisites, I couldn't believe were were a really good value compared to, again, tourmaline. Tourmaline was more. All right, so there I have 3 necklaces. I'll just quickly show you these. And price for each one is only $21 each. Only $21 each. That is a lot of tourmaline. And you can separate the colors out. You can restring them if you want to gather all the pinks or whatever. Get all 3 strands if you want. Look at the clarity on some. This is just another one of them. Look at that blue one. And then here's the 3rd one. And again, all similar. Look at some really unique colors. And again, the way they are on the string, if you don't string, you can just tie them off with using the string on them, and the weight will keep. See all the extra string at the back of these? You can take it as it is and create a knot anywhere up here you want. The weight will keep these beads centered on you, and just the back of your neck can just be the string and make it long enough to go over your head. Then you can always tie it off or tape it off at whatever point. I mean, it is the easy way to do something if you are not a bead stringer, where you can still, maybe that's enough to get you interested to start doing beadwork. It's a great way to make jewelry that all your friends and ladies will enjoy getting items from you. It's just a great way to really start an interest and in creating jewelry. Now, let me keep moving here or else I'm going to run out of time as usual. Let me show you item number 121, 1224. Now, this opportunity, okay, let me check that. Let's see, 121, 1224. Okay, now I have a quantity on this of only 2 pieces, but let me show you. This is, let me move those and let me just set these up. Big tourmaline nuggets. Look at the size of those. And so I have pink with green because I didn't know how else to put it, because some, like you can see that right there, is almost watermelon. I see green, white, and red. So let me just drape. I actually tied these off so I could drape them over the neck. Hold on. And have my hands free to talk to you. Which, you know, if you know me, I love to talk with my hands, but I'm not Italian. Yeah, never my mom. She was an amazing orator. Especially with 6 children, I think she had to be. All right, so these are both of the items available. So the length of each is about 16 inches. You can find all kinds of, well, like watermelon, or some, I'm looking at one here, up here that's really gemmy. Look at that. Look at that gemmy green and pink one. Some might be cat's eyes, and just a neat opportunity. And they're big. They're big. So there might be leftover from cutting, or, you know, chips or pieces from broken crystal clusters. Look at the size of them in my hand. If you get both of them, you can then have choices in dividing out colors if you want, but you can see a lot of them are by color, which is kind of neat. And oh, here, where is that piece that didn't look like, no one got right, that didn't look like a tourmaline? Let's just see, because I happen to see a bead that looks really, really, oh, there's that beautiful feldspar. Oh, for anyone that missed that, let me show you. Is that what went flying? Might have been that tourmaline piece, Latif. We had a bead that went flying, but I think it was that tourmaline that I wasn't meant to be. Oh, here, let me show that lattice feldspar. Since we were talking about that at the beginning of the show, let me show you how really unique this is. And you have to get it just on the right, there it is, right angle. Look at that. You can see why they call it lattice. Look at that play of color. But what is unique, look at that. It's really beautiful. But as I said, every single one that I saw, as you can see in this one as well, has been stabilized, what they call stabilized, just like turquoise is. Oh, look at the other side of it. Because if not, it wouldn't be able to take a polish, and it would crumble, likely crumble. So it's usually resin. And they're still getting big money for it, huh? Okay, so that's the lattice rainbow. So anyway, I was going to show you a piece of tourmaline, but I don't seem to have it at the very moment. And it looks, anyway, very similar to some of the light green and pink tourmalines that are here. And you can see the light green colors. Maybe why it didn't look like so much like a bicolor, because like this one just has those very light green outer skins. Price on these guys? Only $28 each. Only $28 each. And that's a lot of tourmaline for $28 that's drilled. And, you know, you can always make dangle earrings. Pick 2 out that you like that are the pink and greens. There's just a lot you can do if you do a little bit of bead stringing. Look at this one. I like that. It has almost the red and green all the way around it. Yeah, so you can certainly do cherry picking if you get them both. If you get them both. So no limits here. First come, first serve on these guys. Next, here is the iodite deal. Item 121, 1624. 121 1624. This is where I thought about, oh no, this is amethyst deal. Never mind. I have an iolite deal coming up too. Okay, so instead of selling these, same kind of thing though, instead of selling these individually, it wasn't going to be enough money because I was going to offer them so inexpensively. Now here's the other thing. On these amethysts, look at the clarity of these. So relative to the way they call A, B, and C clear, kind of quality, what I noticed is they had those really, really dark amethysts. Personally, by the time you wear them on your skin or by the time you get them against clothing, the beads darken up, okay? When they're really dark, sometimes you can't even tell that there's a purple shade to them. So I actually prefer, if there's a difference between clarity and color, give me a clarity like this. Just like I guess I like my Colombian emeralds, I don't mind that lighter bright green because the clarity is usually really crisp in the Colombian emeralds. And when you get into the more darker colors and for the same kind of money, you end up with a lot of inclusions which cut down on the brilliance and they're not so bright. That's just my personal thoughts on some of the Colombian. Now, what is cool about these particular strand is I'm selling all 4 of these together. I'm not breaking them out individually. You can, there might be slight differences in color, but the other neat thing, I started looking at these and it made me almost, and that'd be so much time consuming, but you know what a nut I am for inclusions. Oh yes, the inclusion of the month I always look forward to. Look at this. Okay, so I saw in these, there is everything from rutile inclusions in here to some, you know, caucasinite to hematite. You can see some of them from there, but that's only from a distance. So don't think you're going to see that if you get them and wear them. And so the closer you look, the more cool they look. So let me show you. So a single strand, they're all the same length, but here's what kind of a single strand would look like. And as we come away from it, you can see that clarity becomes much less of an issue the further away you look at them. And you can see the really nice clarity to them and a very attractive lighter amethyst color. Okay, so here's it. You get everything you see right there for $34. Everything you see, all 4 strands. So let's break it down that way. If we look at it that way, because there's a total of 60 inches. Okay, because I just made it 15 inches. Maybe they're 15 and a half or whatever. So I just made it that. And there is 340 carats. Oh yeah, so I did 10 cents a carat. I used 10 cents a carat to get to $34. And those, try to price shop them where I'm referenced, and a lot less expensive. Plus, I didn't notice, are these, I didn't see, these don't even look hand cut. These look, I guess, more perfect. I kind of like the hand cut ones sometimes, but in general, they are less expensive than some of the really nice matched round material. So now, let me keep going here because, let's see. Item, oh yes, these two will show side by side. Okay, next I have item number 121-0724. 121-0724. Now, I at first thought that this was the same as the next one I'm going to show you, but we'll talk about this one first. Look at this. Now this is where you get to a really nice quality of tourmaline and the way they've cut these beads. Beautiful, beautiful reds and greens, and these are 9 by 6 millimeter, and I just called them barrel shaped, and a really nice pink. And I undershot the weight just to make sure it was always less than what it was. And again, I just temporarily tied these off. Actually, I just used tape. So you can literally literally use it just as I have it, except do something about a clasp, and you'll get the weight of them. No one is going to see this part in the back. So you can actually just take them as they're knotted off right here and use a catch, or just tie this string off, because the actual total length then would be long enough to go over your head, and you'll have your own necklace, unless someone is sitting behind you in church and gets to see the back of your neck or something. I don't know how else anyone would see that part in the rear. That's what I always used to tell everybody when I had my jewelry store. When it came, well, what's it going to look at the back of there? So who's going to see the back? So I had to come up with something, and that's what I came up with. I said, who's going to see the back of church? And believe me, I'm raised Catholic. I have sat in enough pews and looked at enough of the back of a woman's neck as a little boy growing up with 6 of us kids lined up in a row, all having to behave, even though we'd like to laugh at the woman in front of us in the back of her neck. All right, let's look at item. Yeah, that would help. $38. $38. Now, this item was the same thing as I thought as this other item until I noticed a small difference. So let's look at item 1210824. This is going to be the same price. So I'll take away this one you're looking at right now in a moment, but I want to show you. So after I'd actually created an item number with 2 items, I noticed a small difference in size. Now, as I drop this one in the middle of it, you can see these are bigger. These are bigger. They're 11 millimeters by 6 millimeters. So, do you have that one, Asif?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, sir. So, that's why I had to create a second item number, because they were not identical. And so what would look good is if you got both, is to have the smaller one draped inside the bigger one. You know, or not. So anyway, same price, $38. Only $38. And again, talking about tourmaline, there is a big, huge amount of money that they ask for tourmaline. No, it shouldn't be any surprise. I mean, it should be the way it is. But it was way more than I thought. So I priced these at a phenomenal opportunity to anything comparative. And so, you know me, I want to be found to be the guy that went out of business because he sold everything too inexpensively. That would be me. So, take it from me, I did my homework to make sure these items were priced less than you'd be able to find them elsewhere. Now, when it comes to like these 3 big aqua crystals that I'm putting up right now at the moment, I have no idea. Those, they came in and had no information, except they came with these with Brazilian material. So, and it goes without saying that those particular crystals were Brazilian. And other than that, then the price, I can assure you, I made up and would be way less than if I actually knew what I had paid for them. It would be way more than my offering. Now, let me keep moving on these. Here, again, item 1211824. 1211824. Instead of offering these 1 strand at a time, I am offering all of them. I am offering all of them. And let me just, against the white so you can see them for a moment. Look at those. Look at those. And these have a lovely, lovely, well, it kind of peaks there, so maybe if we just do the lighting a little different, you'll see them as the pink that they are, because they are beautiful, beautiful rose quartz color. Let me put them over here for a moment and get my arm out of the way and do this. Yep, haven't done beads or anything that takes a neck in a while. So you can see the lovely pink there better. With the white, it doesn't always give you the actual color tone. Again, if I twist those up, I always liked that. Remember when the fossil beads were so popular? Oh my, that was my first jewelry business I had when they were popular. I was like 23 and fossil beads were in, and I must have sold, oh, I can't tell you how many. But anyway, one of the big things was twisting them up. you can actually, with this material, if you wanted to be have a little fun, go with a light and find all kinds of cat's eye or little star rose quartz beads. Yes, they are in here. So remember, rose quartz is a material that is always found cloudy, but there's degrees of cloudiness. There is cloudy, completely opaque, or there is cloudiness where it's translucent, or it's cloudiness where it's transparent to translucent. And if we look at this, yeah, you can really see the nice pink. You can see that these, being able to see the string, that's why I had thought I had written on these, or I had intended to put on these in reference as A grade, because the best grade that was being offered was their B grade, and it was completely opaque and well below the quality and color that these are. You wouldn't be able to see the string on the inside at all. So that's where I saw, okay, if that is what they're calling a B grade, then by far these are A grade. Again, everything being relative to that particular business's item. So here's the deal. 9 strands for $68. If not, then I was selling a strand for what? Less than $7 each? You know, can't do that. Oh no. So, someone take advantage. All of these, beautiful color, and they're already kind of partially strung, if you want to look at it that way. I just taped them off to keep them together. And it's really quite pleasing pink. And in the world of rose quartz, remember, often rose quartz in particular gets its intensity of color through size. In other words, to get a strong rose quartz in a bead this small, that's really difficult because, again, a lot of the saturation of color will come through depth of and distance that you're looking at it through. So for them to even have this much pink, and you saw especially against the white, because the black and the way the camera works will make it come out different. These actually have a really nice pink, actually a stronger pink than what I'm seeing, but you get the idea. You love them. For only $68, what a deal. Now, item number 121-1524. This next one is the only one I have. So, and it is at an incredible value. Now, the way this came, it came in with some loose ones that were in the bag, but it's pretty cool because I get to show you the beads. Look at this. Look at these aquas. Look at those. This is a really exciting deal. And if you look at some of the individual ones, the clarity, and there'll be cat's eyes in these. Yep. Some of these will have cat's eyes. You have to just look through them. Okay, so look at that great color. And then now here is the loose beads. And here's what I found really cool. These were just actually part of it. So I counted them up, how many to an inch roughly. And so that's why it's 13-inch total with these loose beads. So, but what is neat is you can see from the end of them, everyone has roughly 6 sides and they're drilled. So they actually took a crystal like I talked about and they sliced it up because there's the 6 sides, you can see to those. And so they sliced them up and they tumbled them and they made beads from them. Now, if they took, and they would have taken, because you can see the 6 sides to it, they took a crystal. They took a crystal and cut these up. This isn't from a bulk mass deposit of aqua. These were crystals. Give me the crystals. I'd rather have the crystals than the beads, but you know, they figure that's what sells better. So a really neat, I don't know, for the amount of money, I think they would have gotten more money, even if the crystals were broken in shards like I saw you, than the amount I'm asking for these right now. So the entire necklace, ready for this? I only have one, $48, which I think is, I don't even know why I made it so inexpensive. $48, and look at that. Look at that. So with the loose beads, I mean, you can use that the way it is, the loose beads as it is. You can add back to the necklace, or again, great for drop earrings. Always keep a few of the beads out separate, even if you don't know what to do with them, because you can always then create drop earrings or a bracelet to match if you have long enough beads to start with. That's why sometimes in strands, you may only think you want one, but get another one, and it's inexpensive. That way you can create a bracelet and or drop earrings later, or add to and extend your necklace lengthwise if you need it. Just a thought. So there you go. For $48, that entire opportunity right there. Let's keep going. Item number 121-1424. 121-1424. I told you we hadn't done beads, and so sorry. You're gonna have to get beads. That was the treasure of the week. That was the deposit I hit. That was the mother lode. That was the vein. That was the pegmatite. Was beads this week. Look at this. And I'm telling you what, after I was pricing them, you better buy these up now, because next time around, or if you need them at some other point, they're going to be far more than what you're seeing these for at the moment. Okay, let me move those out of the way. Look at these. Oh my, have these gone up in price. I'm selling all 4 strands. I'm not breaking these down into individual pricing and individual strands. I am just offering all 4 of them together. Boy, I'm looking at these aquas. These are really, really pretty. Look at that. I mean, I'm sure I could have asked twice as much. I'm sure there'll be 3 or 4 people that want that. Why wouldn't you for the price that was? That's, I don't know, an exceptional opportunity that, you know, I probably get wrong. All right, now, look at the clarity to these. Remember, peridot can have inclusions, and it often shows them off as having inclusions, but these are great. You can go to inspect them close, they have some, but from a distance, these are also hand cut, so I can see little imperfections, flat spots on them. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, well, look at that. I can't eat, is that 5 strands? Okay, I cannot even count. I guess the total weight will be correct. Can you just put in 5 strands? But I have actually priced this only as 4 strands, and I'm not going to change that. So, look at this. It also, and I don't know which one it came off of, because I did not see any that were retied. There was, but they match. A bag of loose beads. There was a couple inches of them. So these come with it as well. This 4 strands, so it's 5 strands, 200 carats, and peridot is not inexpensive. Peridot is one of those expensive ones. $48 for all 5. It was supposed to be $48 for 4 strands. Carat wise doesn't matter. It's the way they go by is the strands. It's not so much by carat. Look at that. 5 strands. So the length, let's see, 14, it'd have to be 12, but yeah. So the length is longer too. Yep. The length will be longer because I had these measured 60 inches at 15 inches each. So could you put the length at 75 inches, please, sir? So 75 inches. So yeah, really got that one wrong. I must have been tired. And so that is to your benefit, my loss, and wow, okay. So I will have to tell Kevin on my side. All right, yeah. price, crazy price, crazy price. That leaves it at not at less than $10 a strand for peridot, which well, do your homework on that, and you'll know just how inexpensive. But like I said, I didn't break it up, so there's only one opportunity. I'm making notes on here for Kevin, my man at inventory, so he knows that I know that I messed up. All right, let me keep moving here. This is item number 121, 1924. 121, 1924. Again, instead of breaking them up into individuals, I am selling them all together. And this one is the one that's going to cause some regret because I love iolite beads because of how dichroic they are. Every bead looks a little different as you turn it a little different direction. Look at these. Oh, you see the flat, so they're hand cut. So these are hand cut. And you know how iolite is dichroic. So you can get, and you can see this perfect, look at how clear that is in one direction. And you look at it in another direction, it may not be that way, it may be from the end as it is from the end, and it's blue. So these, every one of these will have that property. And depending on the way it's cut, you know, the bead is drilled, I guess depending on which way the bead is drilled, depends on which way direction the color changes. So let me just show you against white here for a moment so you get a feel for that. See that? Ah, look at that. Look at the clear and look at the color changes. I love this stuff. Look at how rich of a blue that one is until I turn it. How funny. Look at that one right there. That's amazing. And the whole necklace, how fun. Look at that. That looks totally clear until I turn it. I love iolite. See, look at some beads that are standing out. Look at that one right there. Look at the clarity to them. Beautiful stuff. It is the gem variety of cordierite. And it is expensive. So you can work with 56-inch total length, or you can keep it this length and twist it up and make it look all modern and fancy. So many things you can do if you have enough of them to work with. That's the other reason I put them all together as one. So let me just put them here, move this out of the way. There we go. And price wise, $48 for all 4 strands. Wow. $12 a strand. Iolite, let me tell you, if I remember correctly, which I think I do, I think for this comparable item, that place was wanting $28 a strand. $28 a strand. A strand. Yep. Stuff's expensive, but not the way I priced it. Okay, let me show you. Item number 121, 1724. We're getting to the end of the beads here. And in this one, again, it is 2 strands to a sale. So I have actually 2 strands set aside so you can see what that looks like. And then I'll show you the group of them all. This is amethyst, and it is beautiful material. Beautiful material. And so let me show you these 2. So you get in 2 strands, 160 carats total weight, 32 inches. So each is about 16 inches. And look at the clarity and the quality. So these, compared to those other amethyst ones I showed you, are a much better quality, especially by way of clarity. You can easily see that by looking at them. These don't have the inclusions like I talked to you about. And boy, it's really apparent. Now, these 2 strands, and I have the opportunity, I have, let's see, quantity of 12. So I have 12 sets of double strands. And so you get the idea. You guys, yeah. You get the idea. You don't need to see them there. Okay, so price. Per set of 2 strands, $18. Only $18 for both strands. In that quality, wow, that sounds really inexpensive. That sounds really, really inexpensive. Now let me show you the whole batch of them. Look at those. Aren't they beautiful? I mean, it is just something to hold the round beads. They just feel really good. And here's the other neat, clever thing. And I had a note for Kevin in inventory. If he, I want a set of 2. He said he's going to think, he's going to be cussing me. How am I supposed to get these out? So I wrote a note to him because it's amazing. You see the way this is done? I don't know how they're clever. They are. You can hold on to a single strand like this, hold on to the string, and as long as you hold on to the end of this and you pull on this, and each one will come out completely individually. I just thought it was just one of the most cleverest things I've ever seen. And yeah, I've known that about that a long time, but I wouldn't know how to string it up to get it to do that myself because it's bound in a certain way. And that's over my educational limit when it comes to the pearl stringing. Okay, now, I know some of you non-beaters out there are saying, okay, where are we going to get to something else? Well, how about this? Item 121, 2024. And if I would have had a little more time, I have a couple other surprises for you next week, but couldn't get to it this week when it comes to something like this. Look at that. Most people would just call this chrysocolla, but the reality of it, since all of you are so educated now and question everything, I have to give you more information than anyone else ever will. Now, the reason why, let's go all the way back to turquoise, why the majority, if not all, except what you may get from Sleeping Beauty or myself otherwise, or someone that may know and sell it as natural, the reason why turquoise is stabilized, the reason why you have, like the feldspar is stabilized, the reason why, but that's straying outside of copper. If I just stick with copper minerals alone, a lot of different copper minerals have water as part of their makeup, turquoise being one of them. They dry out. You bring turquoise to the surface, you think you're going to let it just sit, oh, I'll get back to this pile here, I'll come back next week, and if you just mine some turquoise, I'm sure maybe you wouldn't leave it behind, but whatever you did leave behind and left to the surface after it's been underground, well, you might come back to just a pile of dust. It can readily lose its water content and will literally turn into powder. I mean, it'll degrade just like that. Or it's the kind of thing that it's so dry, you stick your tongue to it and it sticks. It really is. So, hence the treatments they do to turquoise. I don't have to get out my block of turquoises, which I will at some other point again to show you. That tells you everything you need to know. The different colors and how they reconstitute it. So anyway, turquoise can tend to lose its water. When it does, it would crack up. If you have natural material and good material, I don't prefer that to be done. I prefer it to be all natural. Okay, so as we look at this, and look at this a little closer, the neat thing about this, of course, this beautiful blue here is your really good quality chrysocolla. Chrysocolla can be a greenish color as well. Not the case of this one. You have, if you notice, that beautiful blue underlying these, and you should be able to recognize them, florets or acicular sprays of malachite. These are malachite sprays. And like I said, most any dealers won't bring up the word malachite. They'll just say chrysocolla, but that's not the truth. Let's just look at this a little closer, and I'll be able to show you. They're awesome. There, great job, Latif. Look at that. See those malachite sprays? You recognize those. You've seen those on other pieces. These were sprays, and they just polished them. Look at the underlying layer of blue. So, thank you, sir. This would be the equivalent of malachite over a layer of chrysocolla. And that's basically what it is. Now, you will get a little bit of natural crazing here. This ring, I had gotten at least about the same time as the rest. I found it there, so 12 years ago, maybe 10, 12 years ago, long time ago. So it's going to be in its worst shape that it ever will be as far as any kind of crazing. And I'm sure it wasn't that way to start with, but it just sat in a dry area for a long time. And it's a copper mineral that has not been treated. That's the important thing. So here's the rest of the ring. It is easily sizable. And I could size it if you need it sized. Probably have to charge like $20, which is, compared to what I'm going to charge for the ring, might sound like a lot of money. At the price, though, I can't throw in the sizing, so hope you understand that. See if you can't fit it the way it is, because once you get to start messing with cutting them and sizing them, it's easier to size it up a size or two by rolling them than by actually cutting them and applying heat to it. Remember, it's a copper mineral, so the extra effort it would take would be risky. Price on this ring is what I'm charging for. If I had that piece of chrysocolla loose, I'd probably ask it that much just for that kind of cool stone, especially that particular piece with those malachite crystals overlaying the chrysocolla. $58. Only $58. And that is an excellent opportunity because, again, the stone really makes the piece. Because it's not just a normal kind of stone that you would find used in a piece of jewelry. And that's why, out of all the choices I'm sure I had, I picked that one for that exact reason. It's obvious to see the underlying chrysocolla, and it's obvious to see the malachite crystals over the top. I think that is cool as can be. Now, oh my gosh, where did the time go? All right, let me see. Let's do a shotgun presentation here of however many things I can get to in like 5 minutes. All right, so I think some of let's look at item 119.9924. 119.9924, and these are a few items that I am going to offer a sale price because, for whatever reason, you may not have had an opportunity to get them last time. Look at this. Look at this. Beautiful terminations on the quartz. Look at the quartz crystals. So these are what's important to mineral collectors, is terminations and whether they have nicks or dings. These are actually in really good shape. Look at this. You have lepidolite. So this is, and here is some of the more lavender lepidolite. You have the pearl color lepidolite, and then you have some feldspar back here. You have some additional crystallization here. But look at how attractive that is, and look at the color of the tourmaline. So that is really a beautiful crystal specimen. And so I showed it before. It gets a discount, and that leaves the price now at only, well, we'll make it worth anybody's while at only $48. $48 now. Big discount, but anyway, this is another surprise. Item 1200024. 1200024. Why did no one get the opportunity to get this? Look at this. This is one of the nicest Look at that. Look at the reds and the colors in this guy. Iridescent ammonite. And some stunning colors, not only the more common yellows and oranges, but you just change the angle and look at the rare blues. And you get to see each of these is another like ring of growth. Each of these segments, because it grows from this end outwards and keeps curling around. And both sides of this are polished and iridescent. You can actually take a saw down the middle of this if you want and see if there's any open pockets of calcite crystals, etc. Wonderful. You can see the swirl and iridescence all the way down to towards the center, which is difficult because the specimen would have had to have been prepared to some extent to remove that material. So I think everyone missed an opportunity on that one. So whoever did, you're going to get a little bit of a discount now. Instead of only $28, let's make it only $24. So if you gambled, you get to save a few bucks. Always worth that. Let's see. Oh man, so much more I had planned. Oh, I've been wanting to show this. 113-9423. 113-9423. This is an outstanding and rare piece of made in the USA, Pennsylvania of all places. That's kind of an important place. Pyromorphite. Look at that. Pyromorphite. It actually sits up on its own. And double-sided. Double-sided pyromorphite. And the other really cool thing to this is the crystallization. On the top of these crystals, it looks like another weird growth. If you look there, there we go. You can see like tentacles. It looks like a sea anemone. Or a stalk of celery. There we go. You can see it. There's some right there, 3 of them. 2 easily in the background. You have a barrel kind of shaped crystal coming up. Then at the top, or pineapple. There we go, a pineapple. A barrel-shaped crystal, then at the top, all these additional smaller crystals coming up from it. I think that is, and every one of these, for the most part, has that formation. Double-sided, super rare piece from the Wheatley mines. It is a lead chlorophosphate. And you can read all about the Wheatley mines in Pennsylvania. They are world famous. This is a rare old-time specimen. And I can't stress enough what an opportunity this is for someone to get it. And wow, I have a final price on this. Yeah, I tell you what, I'll make it almost a final. Here, okay, $77. $77. And let's see if I have time for one more item. That's about all the time I have left. One more item. And what is that item going to be? Oh, man, there's so many choices. I like the name of where this one says it's from. Let's see what this could be. Oh, that's neat. But let's do this. Item 1200624. Here is a goodie, a rarity and a goodie, and I will sale price it. Yeah. Everyone needs to have this for a part of their collection if you want the rare, unique, and unusual. This is Peruvian rhodochrosite, and make note of the color. That's important to know. And one of the things about Peruvian rhodochrosite is the way it terminates, the way the top of it finishes. Look at that. Let's go over to, let's say, this one right here. Look at that. See that? Look at that pinacoid. It has 3, or actually, if you look at it from the top, it's going to have 6. Here's another one. Faces, all coming to a termination. Let's see, is it 6 or, let's see, hold on 1 second. Let me get the light down here. There we go. How cool is that? Yeah, 6. That's what I thought. There's another one. You can see the 6 sides to it. Remember, Sweet Home, Sweet Home, they are more of the monoclinic, the squared off ones as far as the type of crystal formation. These are completely different. This is a rare and unique piece. It has, it's from the Uchachukua mine. Bless you, I always want to say after I say that. And has some wonderful quartz crystals as well. And look at this. Look at this. Look at all this additional crystallization kind of hidden by some of that material that might be fun to work on. All right, so I am going to give a discount price on this. So if you waited, you're going to benefit by that. Let's make this one at a large discount and make it only $88. That's the last item of the show. Well, wait, you've seen this, so it'll only take 1 minute to present it. $88 on that item, $115.82, $224. Thanks, because this was a valuable piece, and I only am going to show it like probably the last time before I keep it forever. Here you go. Crabtree. Oh, you don't have it? Oh, I'm sorry. I said it too fast. Item 115.8224. Crabtree Emerald Mine. This is one of the rarest, it's like a phantom anymore, one of the rarest pieces you can ever get. None of these ever come up for sale. You can see emeralds galore right along the edge here. You can see, there we go. Look at that. And look at, as they come all the way up here, they actually cross over in through the biotite and the amphibole. Look at that, coming right down here, right down through here, and continue. And there's been slices of this. I've sliced off of it. Look at the emeralds even in the end. So no telling what's in here. But you can, in other words, continue to slice this because there's going to be emeralds that you cannot see that are behind this. And as each slice, every single one of them had emeralds and have emeralds in it. So the amount of literally exposure, so to speak, by two sides and the number of slices you can get, you could get 5 slices, get them, you know, your cost would be minimal. But as a piece this size, if you lap polish this, or if someone did, or leave it like it is and just do one of my spray polishes on it is all you would need. You have other tourmaline, hornblende, biotite, all kinds of things in that, and you can see the quality of the emerald. This is super, super rare. It is an item that you just cannot find, and when you do, especially with that much material, they're going to charge as for all the emeralds, seen or unseen in it. I am dropping the price on this to as low as I'll ever go. And then after that, it goes back home. $248, last item of the show. $248, and I will be back with trivia. Thank you. Okay, well, that was fun. I hope all of you enjoyed it. And again, well, one of these times I am going to, well, you guys really like the commentary part and the trivia so much, so never mind, forget that. I just, one time we'll talk faster. How's that? Okay, so, ready for the trivia. I've got 3 questions now. I'm adding, you know, you still weigh originally 1, then I had to go up to 2, now 3 sometimes. But I'm thinking about doing a what is it here soon, so I gotta get together some things. I actually, that tourmaline piece jumped off the set, so I have to find that pink tourmaline piece. I may have to send it to you, Barbara. Okay, ready, set? What is the type of opal called that has to be held against the light to see the fire? So what is the name given to the type of opal that you have to hold it against the light, in other words, with light behind it, to see the fire? That was question 1. Question 2. What mineral shown during the show, what mineral shown fluoresces blue-gray? Now, I may not, didn't show fluorescence, obviously, but I mentioned it. What mineral shown fluoresces blue-gray? And remember, once we get to the trivia part, you can watch the show as many times as you want until you get to the questions, and then you can't, of course, go back and listen to it to get the answers. I want you to try to remember these stuff. And so if they say write it, spell it, think it, use it in a sentence, all that stuff. So, okay. Question 3. What is the non-gem variety of iolite commonly called? So what is the non-gem variety of iolite commonly called? Okay, that's it. I'm sure you guys will do really well. You've gotten really, really good at it. So much more to say, but seems I always have so much more to say. And I already know some things I'm going to have next week, but I'm not going to spoil the party. I think there's going to be a couple more beads, but not many of those. But the ones I have, you're going to want it to, well, you're not going to want them any more than all of these. All this stuff I showed today, as far as the beads go. I can't tell you enough to get in on them because, well, I can't tell you enough to go and price comparison shop them and then make sure you get in on them. Because again, it's going to be buying a quarter for a nickel, buying 15 or 20 cents for a nickel. It's that kind of a deal. And you can easily compare on that, roughly. And that's why I got an ABC grade. So I was stunned how little A grade is even available. And I was stunned also. Click on the strand of beads that is shown, let it blow up, and then zoom in on that. And then you'll say, oh, okay, I see why these are only dollars. It really, again, told me and showed me that unless you buy from a long-term, like 27-year gem shopping network that has a return policy. So remember, anything you buy in this show is just like you bought it in the live show and spent $10,000. You can return anything once you get it, and if you don't like it. So you guys know the process. So, you're never stuck with anything you buy in this show or buy upstairs. That is the guarantee gem shopping gives you, And I wouldn't be here if I didn't, trust and believe in the company. So we've got this one little niche here of gems and minerals that we get to work with and show other things. So keep it supported, and you'll keep me here. And if you haven't already, like and subscribe, since I learned that I'm supposed to do that. But no, it helps. It does. The more subscribers, the better I look. So like and subscribe away, and watch the shows as many times as you want, because information doesn't always sink in the first time you see or hear it. For anybody, it takes repetition. Prior to COVID, I was an eidetic reader and could retain most of what I read, but or maybe age, not quite the way it was. So it's actually bugged me on some things that I've known for 50 years about rocks and minerals, and then I find myself trying to pull a word out of my head that I would have normally known. And it's brought me to tears recently in not being able to do that. I've never had that problem. So I hope all of you bear with me when you see me searching for words. And I'm going to tell you a little secret. She used to sit next to me every show, Raven. And you wouldn't hear it, but she could tell when I was searching for a word. And if she's ever following me, which normally she doesn't because she's normally so busy, but with this show, she could sometimes sit and listen to me. And she would know the word, and she'd whisper it to me off that you wouldn't hear it, but I would. And she'd help me with the word. And I thought, wow, words I'm searching for, not many people could help me with. But the Raven, yeah, she still knows her stuff. And that's just the funny thing. She goes around everyone here loves her and knows her, but has no idea, besides all this cool kind of hippie jewelry and unusual stuff she wears, just how much she knows. You guys know because I spout it. I know it. But she won't go on air. She doesn't share. Her knowledge she keeps within. And, yeah. Surprises me every time and makes me proud of her every time that she surprises me. Yeah. So that's the whole idea is knowledge is a wonderful thing to have. And a useful thing when you're hanging around your other rock buddies and can spout something like she did the other day. She called me into Zeno's office, and Sonny, the owner, wasn't there at the time, and they got new jewelry in. And one of the pieces of jewelry, it wasn't labeled as to what it was. So she says to me, and it was a stunning, really high quality piece for what it was. She says, "Tell me what this is." She goes, "I think it's a sillimanite." About fainted and fell down. I said, "A what?" And you know what? She was right. She was right. It wasn't a, which everyone thought it was a chrysoberyl. Oh no. Oh yeah, small difference in price there, by like 100 times. What can I say? I said, "What do you need me for?" You know? On the other hand, I was really proud of her. I was really proud of her. Then, of course, I don't stop there. I told her, and then I sent her a text so she could really sound good. I said, next time, say, "Yes, and it's a polymorph of kyanite and andalusite as well." And, you know, polymorph meaning changes form, but has the same crystal structure. So, and she works through sets. And if she said that in front of some hosts, they'd be really, they would understand just exactly, get a little bit more feel. This is just in some hippie chick that comes on the set and sets up everything for you. Oh no. So anyway, I am just trying to draw out a little bit more knowledge, and I'm glad you enjoy the show for that. And if you just want to watch the show for the trinkets, that you're most welcome to as well. And if you want, participate in the comments or in the trivia, and you can see the cool stuff you can win. Never am selling those Thuliawood boxes, but today, one special lucky person got them. That's the way it works. Okay, thanks again, y'all, and enjoy the cooler weather, and hopefully the whole nation will get a break from some of these serious storms and are able to get a chance to recover from the ones that have already hit everywhere in my sort of close to neck of the woods. It's affected everybody. Raven went to get gas coming home yesterday, and it was near 400. There was no gas. So I don't know if more gas was being shipped to Florida or what, but I'm sure it had something to do with it. And I just hope that everyone can get back on track with their lives, that the storms have been affected. So prayers and blessings to them, because I know what it's like to have just a little bit of water damage, and I can't imagine 4 or 5 feet worth. So, okay. I'll look forward to seeing all of you next week. God bless. See you Monday. Thank you.